It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrot's here. Mary Jo Foley's here. The Microsoft duo is here. We'll hear what Mary Jo thinks. I'll give you my little pocket review. We'll also talk about TikTok for the last time. I think the clock has stopped ticking. And an update on Windows 10 and Xbox, and, of course, all the Paul and Mary Jo goodness you can handle. It's coming up next on Windows Weekly. Windows Weekly comes to you from Twit's LastPass Studios. Securing every access point in your company doesn't have to be a challenge. LastPass unifies access and authentication to make securing your employees simple and secure, even when they're working remotely. Check out lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit. This is Windows Weekly, episode 690, recorded Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. The Smurface duo. This episode of Windows Weekly is brought to you by LastPass. Let LastPass improve your employees' experience while safeguarding your business from cyber threats. LastPass is the #1 password manager. Visit lastpass.com/twit to find out how they can help you. And by Tailor Store. Tailor Store makes high-quality clothing that's fully customizable by you. From the basic essentials to the most high-end details, Tailor Store has you covered. Get 20% off plus free shipping with every purchase through October 31st at tailorstore.com/twit. Use the offer code TWIT. And by Worldwide Technology and Cisco. When was the last time your company updated your security strategy? Are your business assets protected? WWT offers security solutions and services that will protect every endpoint of your business and help you combat next-gen threats. Visit wwt.com/twit to get started. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we cover the latest news from Microsoft with Mary Jo Foley. She's at ZDNet. Now a Red Ventures company.
Yes.
And, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That takes a while, though.
It does.
You're still part of the CBS Viacom Paramount family.
Not for too long, but yeah.
For CBS Viacom. That's so confusing. And Paul Thurrot, who is really all out there on his own at thurrot.com.
I know. It's like the Titanic sailing by with Mary Jo on it, and I'm holding onto a piece of ice.
Sometimes it's better to be holding onto a piece of ice.
Yeah, it is.
I just want to say, at least you're already in the water. No, we don't know what Red Ventures is going to be like, but congratulations, I guess. It's kind of interesting because I kind of like it when this happens. CBS bought CNET et al., which includes ZDNet, for what, $3.2 billion, selling it off today for $500 million.
Yeah. Yep. That shows you what's happened to our field, publishing.
Yeah.
Yep. But you know what? I'm encouraged by Red Ventures because they seem like they get B2B, which is what we're all about at ZDNet. So I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to be good.
Encouraged too, because this means when they sell it, I'll be able to afford to buy it.
You know what? I was thinking I've been through
Maybe
four
you and
sales.
I could get together.
Yep. I've been through 4 sales.
ZDNet,
CNET, like CBS, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, here's another one. Here we are.
I went through this same thing at Penton at the company that invented. There's always a bigger fish, is what I found out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like that diagram of the fish eating the fish eating the fish.
Yep.
I distinctly remember being at a meeting in Colorado, and my tiny little company, which at that time consisted of probably a couple dozen people, the owner and founder announced that he was selling it to whatever the company was at the time. Actually, maybe it was Penton. And he said, no, this is going to be great. It's going to drive the next era of growth. And we all looked at each other like, oh, man. It's
always
a countdown to extermination.
I know.
It's always great. It's always great. Well, now, this is good. You're in bed with the Points guy and other fine blogs. So
exactly. If we ever travel again, we'll get some nice insider tips on traveling.
You are set.
Yep.
Actually, it probably is better to have an owner that is a little more dedicated than what you're doing than the massive juggernaut that is CBS Viacom.
Just saying.
Actually,
yeah.
That is the problem, and that's the thing we ran into at whatever bought Penton, or Leighton Penton. You're the smallest part of a gigantic company.
Right.
And eventually what someone does is they look at a spreadsheet and they're like, all right, well, get rid of that guy and that guy because they're making too much money. And then, they don't really understand the
Get what
business
you
at
do.
all. It's just,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and Red Ventures is in the business. I mean, they have Healthline,
They are.
the Points
Yep.
Guy, Bankrate, Reviews.com, creditcards.com. So they do this. Although I think you're going to be the biggest part of it now. This is
We're going to be the tech. We're going to be the tech hub.
The tech hub. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, good. I doubt this will change your life at all, Mary Jo.
I don't think it will, but hopefully not. No. Hopefully not in a negative way.
Right. No.
yeah.
Not like when CNET bought ZDNet. That was a shocker.
I bet it was. Yeah. When I was at Ziff Davis, and I was only there maybe 10 years. Yeah, we went through 4 because it was the family. Then it was sold to SoftBank.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was
Jeez.
Yeah.
One of SoftBank's many former assets.
Yeah.
We were.
Yeah.
Yep.
and then because I remember Eric Capoe, the CEO, me leaving a voicemail message on every employee's inbox saying, "Oh, just by the way, see ya."
Adios.
I hope it was like one of those Ryan Reynolds messages to Mint Mobile subscribers where it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it was like
And at
that.
the end, he's like, "Oh, and you're all fired."
You're all fine. He didn't say that. He just said, "Today I would proud to announce I'm leaving. Goodbye."
Bye-bye.
And then after SoftBank, that's when
man, who
everything
was
got
it?
chopped up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. When Ziff Davis went one way and ZDNet went one way.
Yeah,
and-
because I was still with Ziff Davis, so they stripped off the website. I waved goodbye to Mary Jo.
Ziffs.
Yeah, the 2 Ziffs, the brothers, and then there was a venture investment firm that owned it for a while, and
Yeah.
it was
There's been a
crazy.
lot of owners.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Thank goodness there's still PC Magazine. That's all I can. Oh, never mind.
Love going down to the newsstand every month
I
and
pick
picking
it
up
up.
my new
Yeah.
copy.
Yep, the news
Half an
bulletin
inch
knows me.
thick.
Yep. No, that's Shopper. Oh, I like to get my computer Shopper on.
Computer Shopper, the
Light
Bible.
magazine used to be that big too.
PC
you
was
know?
twice a month too.
I know.
Yeah.
It was massive.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was actually a great magazine. And the website's still good. In fact,
At least the Boston Computer Society is still there, so we got that going for us.
BCS. Funny thing, I was talking about user groups on the radio show over the weekend because I think most of the audience has no idea. BCS, BMUG.
Remember, you'd go into like a Tower Records or whatever, and you'd flip through, albums back in the day, and then CDs. At the Boston Computer Society, you could flip through little things like that, but they were floppies.
Floppies.
Yeah.
I'd pick out all these floppies from my Amiga or whatever I had at the time, and
There was actually
walk out,
a
$7
job,
later.
a volunteer job at user group meetings, the diskette librarian.
Yeah. Yep. Those were the days.
Those were the days. Anyway, how do you like your duo, Mary Jo? You can finally talk about it.
I know. So my review was very similar to a lot of the
Everybody
other
else's,
reviews that I
yes.
saw,
Yeah.
which was the hardware is amazing. The software, not quite so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They pushed out a pretty big update the minute I got mine out of the box, and I'm sure the reviewers got theirs too.
Well, when we got that update, so here's a little inside story on that. We were supposed to get that update on September 10th, the day the reviews came out. And I think they thought better of that because they were like, wait, we better give them this update to stabilize things before they do their reviews,
I think
right?
you're right,
So
yeah.
we got it a week ahead, which was good.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
do you think?
I agree with you. Beautiful hardware.
Yep.
In fact, it makes me even more interested in the Neo. Because the Neo will be a big version of this running Windows 10X with a keyboard. Because that's one of my complaints about this is the form factor, which is really like a little book, cute little book, does not lend itself well to typing. So you either have to put it down, fold it up, and it doesn't really. The accelerometer is kind of imperfect, but that's true on all phones.
What would the keyboard look like? Like, in which orientation do you see using it with a keyboard?
Well, so there's a couple of things you can do. If you do it like you would do it normally on a phone, you'll probably fold it over. But then you have a weird 3:2 aspect ratio phone.
But if you could open that thing and have it be flat, and maybe you had like a Bluetooth keyboard or something, had like a little slot in it, so the thing would sit in their angle.
That's why the Neo is interesting. That's kind of what the Neo is going to do, right?
You also can type this way, like put it vertically and have the keyboard
This
be
is
the
where
bottom.
the software gets funky.
It does.
Because And actually, Lou MM, who works for Microsoft, and he's been dogfooding this for a lot longer than me, said the accelerometer works better if it's flat. So you do the flip-flop, the Fosbury flop. Oh, there you go. And it did it, right? And now you slightly close it. Put it down delicately so it doesn't flip black. And now I wish can you give me an over-the-shoulder shot, John or Aunt, somebody? Because I want to show what it looks like. This is actually very usable. It's a bigger keyboard than you would normally have.
So it's a mini, it's smaller than a Surface Go.
It is.
Go.
Yep.
It's the Surface Go Junior.
So you also can use it in landscape mode with the keyboard spanning across both screens or on one screen or the other. So if you want to type one-fingered on one screen or the other while it's open, which I could not master to save my life.
Yeah, this is no way to type. And then to get it to dual
screen, that's what I was thinking about.
Get it to dual screen, you unlock. Oh no, I just launched these. This is the problem with it. It's a little finicky about the touches. You drag it. Let's see. Open OneNote, drag it up, and then drag it over. And when both screens are lit, now it's dual screen. And then now, so I have the OneNote stuff on the left, and Outlook works this way too. And that's actually that ain't bad.
Yeah, but what how often do you need that?
Exactly.
Well, and also it's fatiguing because you really do kind of have to hold it like this, like an open book. Yeah. And that's kind of fatiguing.
It is. Okay, I'm so glad to hear you say that because I didn't put that in my review because I was like, everyone's going to say, oh, she's got weak wrist. She can't hold this thing up. But it's a half a pound plus the bumper, right? And you're holding this thing. And after a while, my hand was like, ugh.
But here's the thing I think everyone needs to know.
It's not a natural position.
The two screens, though, did you start painting or become creative in any way? Was there a...
I start baking more things?
I can't get a shot of it, so I can't really show you. But the app groups really are cool. In fact, I'll be honest with you. If it weren't $1,400, I would say this is the best chess wallet I've ever had. I have my chess book here on the Kindle. I have my chess set here, my board, my analysis, my stockfish. Yeah. This is an example of the dual use where you have two apps open at once. And actually, this is a great way. YouTube TV and Twitter. You could have open YouTube TV and Twitter. And so that's actually, I have YouTube TV and Edge. And so that's kind of nice. And it's actually great for watching TV because
I just couldn't figure out use cases for the two apps side by side. Like you hear that and you're like, oh yeah, cool. And then you're like, okay, what two apps would I put side by side that I need to look at the exact same time?
See, isn't that cute? The TV's like this, and it's sitting like a Smurface. Yeah. And I got the website here, so I could have Twitter open here, and I could be tweeting and TV. And
remember, this is kind of short. This was short-lived, but for a little while on TV, they used to promote these things called two-screen experiences. Right. Like you'd watch The Walking Dead in season 2 or 3, and they'd be like, get your laptop ready. And because so you'd have like some extra thing like a chat window or something, and then you'd have TV obviously on your TV screen. So it sounds like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So part of the reason I think people didn't like the software is it's just not traditional Android. So it's disconcerting because some of the gestures, for instance, normally this would be return to home swiping up, and it isn't. Just tapping. It took me a while to figure out, you just tap the bottom to return to home. There, I got my picture-in-picture. So they've changed the gestures a little bit.
So you can turn off gestures, as I'm sure you figured out.
Well, Android I do have gestures. It's funny because I have gestures turned off, but I still have the back button and the recents button.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted the back button.
Yeah, you need it. You need it because it's
but
very hard to get to recents.
Yeah, it ships without that on, and so then you're kind of like, I'm like totally without an orientation or a start place, right? You're like, what do I do, right?
Hey, engineers!
So sad I didn't get one of these.
Engineers, can I get some help here? Can you please put an over-the-shoulder? I'm sorry, I have to do this. My big mistake
I think it's good.
When I set up this network was to let anybody else be involved. I'm sending you all home.
Oh man!
So now I don't even remember what we were talking about now.
No, the whole idea of turning off just Android gestures.
Oh yeah, I have them here.
going back to the 3-button
You need
navigation. That helps a lot.
Because the gestures are different. The other thing, and this is minor, but for the longest time I was trying to get to the settings by hitting this button, this gear button.
Right.
Oh no, that's the brightness button. Look how close that looks to the gear button. That's just a Microsoft thing. You could fix that, Microsoft. Maybe you should. So, but I think I have gestures. Let me just see. I think I have it. Gestures.
If you have the home button and the back button.
I turned on 3-button navigation. See, if you turn on gesture navigation, it's not usable because
it's not.
Look what happened. I don't know why all these things just opened.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Go away. So that's the other problem. And now it's dead, by the way.
Possessed.
Yeah, it's possessed. Now that's software. They could fix that.
Yeah, I think they can fix it with
See, it's
software.
not doing. Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm in gesture mode. Never mind. So that's back to the gesture. Okay. So maybe I can get used to that. Yeah, because there's recents.
For me, the problem with the gestures was, first, if you've never used Android gestures, you have to learn that. And then Microsoft layers its own gestures on top of Android gestures.
It's non-standard. Right. Yeah. So that is a little bit of a problem.
I'm sorry.
I like this, though. Don't you like this?
If you look at how elegant the Galaxy Z Fold 2 thing is, I mean, this just looks unready. You know?
I like the launcher.
Love the launcher. Normally, I switch my launcher.
With all your recent docs,
but isn't this good here, like this? Yeah. And this is really customizable. Good. This is the left side. And so that makes sense. You know, it's little things like the way the icons here kind of get together and then spread apart.
They move all by, like, I never could figure out why do they show up on one side or the other, right? Like, especially trying to open the camera, right?
Oh, the camera's terrible. Okay, excuse me.
The camera always
is
opens to selfie first.
Yeah.
Unless
then,
you open the camera on the left.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep.
So, but how do I get it to the left?
Exactly. Right. So you have to fold
I'll do it this
over.
way. Okay. Selfie, see? But then, no, but that's what's supposed to happen. See, then when you do this, this thing is also the double tap to switch screens is dumb.
I know.
Yep. Guys, I'm sorry. I was completely wrong. This thing's awesome. I'm sorry I ever complained about it.
No, but I don't want to make this sound so negative. I actually like it.
You know what? I like the concepts and I like that they're trying something new. But they came out with this so early. Like, it's not ready to sell to people, I don't feel like.
Yeah, I feel like they rushed it.
There you go. You got it.
So now that did it and may turn into a camera. But this is a potato camera. And that's the other problem. It's not a good camera. But I think and now I understand why they said it's not a phone. It isn't. It's a little computer. And honestly, nobody should buy this unless they can afford to have this and a phone.
Yeah.
That's the real problem. You wouldn't want this for your standalone phone. For instance, when you close it, there's no indication that you have a notification at all.
Nope.
There's no information.
You have to do the peak mode.
So you have to go in here. And to be fair, this fingerprint works great. That's a good choice.
It does.
It's a separate from the on-off switch, but it works great. It's such a beautiful piece of hardware. I'm actually glad I own it. It was expensive. I had to buy it, but I'm kind of glad I own it. I think it's really elegantly designed. I think it is a tablet, and the way I primarily use it is a tablet. I have yet to really use it in this mode where where you have it two things and you do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but I feel like in that view,
here's the reason. Sense. Look at that. See, so you guys are wearing masks, but if I scroll it, so the screen thinks there's something where the hinge is.
Yeah.
Now you're in the witness protection program.
That is kind of strange. Okay.
Yeah, every app should say, "Oh no, there's two screens."
I bet they did that on purpose.
Why?
Because they don't want an offset. Like maybe it would be horrible for video. It would be
offset, but there's things like when I do my crossword puzzles, and this should be in theory a perfect crossword puzzle machine. Yeah. But you can't do it that way because you're missing a whole row of entries, and there's no scrolling.
And there's no way you can't scroll. Yep. Yeah.
So that's a failure. Now Google Maps.
Yeah, they're counting on developers to fix their apps for this.
But if Microsoft doesn't, why would the developer?
See what's happening right there. Like you're holding the thing sideways. It doesn't rotate by itself. I mean, it's just.
It works better if it's flat like this, and then you can tent it.
You know, it would work great if it was a single screen mini tablet.
But remember, a lot of phones, including my iPhone, the accelerometer is wonky. This is you'd think this would work better on all
See,
phones.
I find accelerometers are often too touchy. Not
right. And so it's
delayed.
going whoop,
Laggy.
whoop, whoop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a tunable
right.
feature. But I mean, I think if you're using Teams or Skype in this
Yes.
mode, it's great
Teams is the
Actually, you do it
perfect
like
app
this.
for this phone.
because you'd want the
It is.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if you have a meeting on one side and you have to look at a document they're talking about in the meeting, there's your perfect
Yeah,
use case for this.
And that's why the Neo is getting exciting for me. See, actually, and I have, I turned, there's a little bug. I'm not sure if it's in the Kindle app or not, but I turned off the cool page turn in Kindle because it was jumping pages, and that wasn't good. So I have to, let me turn it back on, though. Look, see?
Yep.
Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah. Supposedly Google Maps has been updated now. Let me just see out of curiosity to understand the dual screen somehow. But I don't know. Where's Maps? M A B C D E F G. So if I do this, let's see. No, see, still like I've made work disappear. Oh, you can't. It's so bright. I'm sorry. Let me turn down the brightness. This time I won't use that gear. I'll use this gear. All right. Now you can see it. So you can see, stuff's still hiding in the gap.
Yep. You got to move things around to
But
see
it's nice
the
to have
whole-
a map at this size. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
I
Yep.
have to remember now. Let's see, what else was I going to show you? Well, the Kindle's so awesome. If
The Kindle app's cool.
if you could just say, look, I just wanted a $1,400 Kindle, and I'm really happy now. This would be a great choice if you have that much money to burn. Where's the settings? Here it is.
I always talk about I only want to carry 2 devices, and a lot of times I do carry a Kindle, laptop, and a phone. So this would replace the Kindle if
Yeah.
it could replace my
What a
phone,
great-
but it can't.
What a great reading experience. This actually looks like a book,
Yep,
Yeah,
but why is that important? Books are old fashioned.
I know. Yeah.
Books are the way we used to do
This
things.
is what I want on the airplane. But I don't want it to be my
Well.
phone. I want it to be my little mini bitty computer.
Yeah.
But this will be great. Someday I'll fly again, and this will be great to take on the airplane, to watch TV, to read books, to do that dual screen thing for things like, chess study. It's great. But you still need a phone for notifications and stuff like that. Because
camera.
this
Yeah.
is dopey. This is just not.
Yeah. You got to use it with
I'll put it to
earbuds.
my ear.
It's weird
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah. Or the speaker, if there's nobody
Yeah, or
around.
the speaker.
And it doesn't have a great speaker. It's a mono speaker, but it's good enough for a phone call. I actually have been listening to books on it, which is fine. So, it's not a complete failure, and I really don't want people to take the negative reviews as like, oh, they should just kill this.
Right. I don't think they're going to. The rumor is they're already building version 2 for next year. So
Yeah, and
Yeah,
presumably
yeah.
the Duo 2 will be even better.
I would hope so. That seems like the bar.
It's beautiful hardware.
it really is.
Great.
The hardware is amazing. It is.
They need a better camera, but again, I don't think anybody would want this as their sole phone. This is your work phone, maybe. Right? Something like that.
I want it to be a device I can take to an office and plug into a monitor and have it be my work
yeah.
computer.
Is
The
this too
Samsung
continuing?
does this. What is wrong with you
know.
two?
I know.
Yeah, but that's
Samsung
janky.
do
Samsung
that.
does it, but Samsung phones are terrible because of the Samsung ecosystem.
Right.
Like I don't want all the stuff
is a
Samsung
very
gives me.
Microsoft-y.
I don't want all that.
Paul, do you have the Fold?
No.
Are you going to get the Fold?
Nope. It's too expensive.
Yeah. $2,000.
Yeah. I wish
Yikes.
I wish I could afford it, but there's a lot of other stuff I have to get, and this is an expensive quarter, and we don't have a lot of money, so I can't. See, now it's doing the thing that really bugs me, which is it's just not responding. Oh, now it responded like later.
Yeah.
So the
It's
slow
laggy.
response is a problem. Yeah. But I love this idea, and now I can show you. First I have to flatten it, then I have to do that.
This is great. It's a great device.
Then I have to bang it 3 times on the desk.
Just
Come on,
as a
baby. Come on,
reminder to
baby.
Everyone watching, Leo actually knows a thing or two about tech.
Come on, baby.
Exactly.
I know you
Like
can
little
do
trouble
it. I
there.
broke it, so. But that's a nice way to watch TV is in the little Smurface book, because that's what this is. It's a little Smurface laptop, and I do think that the Smurface Neo will be great.
Jeez, based on this.
Yes, because it'll be bigger.
Why?
It'll have a keyboard that slides out. It'll be because this is a really interesting form factor.
Leo, let me just throw like one idea out here. They thought this was good enough to ship in its current form. They delayed the Surface Neo because the software wasn't ready.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like this is what they decided to ship. Can you even imagine how terrible Windows 10X must be right now? I'm just am I the only one seeing this?
No,
I can't believe.
And I wonder.
I'm trying
I also
to
wonder if
tell
and
Paul
when.
that a Microsoft product is good.
No, I
can't
wonder
believe
if and
this.
when we'll see a dual screen 10X device from Microsoft, right? Like, will we see that thing that we saw that was the Neo, or will we see something that's very, very different from that when it finally ships?
Because that was
right?
kind of a concept computer, wasn't it? When the video.
Although they made
No,
it
no,
look
no,
like,
no, they
hey,
intended to ship
shipping this year,
Yep,
right?
That should have been coming out at the same time as Duo.
Now, right?
Yep. And that was the thing that had the slide over. You could slide over the bottom,
Yeah.
the bottom
I like
screen.
that.
And,
I thought that was cool.
yeah, but it was bigger, so that made a little bit more sense, right?
Yeah. Wasn't it 2 9-inch screens hinge? Wasn't that what the Neo was supposed to be?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I think, or 9 or 10 inch. Yeah. So
It's like
we
saying,
think
do you
that's
remember how
not
big
canceled.
Sasquatch's foot is? I don't know.
We think it's not canceled, but we don't know. Like the rumor I've heard is the soonest we'll see a 10X device from Microsoft with 2 screens could be fall 2021.
I will say 2
At
things.
best.
I've always thought the bigger form factor made more sense, regardless of the operating system. And the nice thing about that, if you will, is that when you get to a bigger size, it's clearly a computing device. It's a computer. It's a tablet. It's not a phone, right? Part of the problem with the Duo is I think you go into it with an expectation that this thing is going to replace a phone, and then you do all the things a phone's doing. You're like, oh, this sucks. This is terrible, or this is non-existent, or whatever, and you just you get disappointed by that. I think you guys are probably right in that it's kind of a computing device. I mean, our Microsoft's very keen to say it's not a phone, and
That's now I understand why.
Yep.
yeah, it's not a good phone.
Although the
that's
phone
for sure.
quality was very good. I used it with my Google Fi SIM and I could hear really well, and like it worked like a
It's not-
phone.
when I say phone, I don't mean like a
Yeah.
AT&T rotary dial
know.
phone.
It's a perfectly fine telephone.
Yeah,
It's
great.
not a good smartphone.
Exactly.
It's a little
Mommy,
computer.
what's a phone?
No, you know what? A lot of people ask me, like, does it actually work as a phone?
Yes.
Like calling people and answering calls. I'm like,
Perfectly
yeah,
fine.
it does. It does.
And usually what I do is I put it in Smurf mode and I use speaker and I talk and it's fine.
yeah.
It works great. I'm completely happy with it. I am probably going to still use it. I'm not going to go, oh, thank God I don't have to use it anymore.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to keep using it because I think it's interesting.
I want to see how, like, they're going to obviously push out some software updates in the next few months. So let's see what it does
Right.
to usability.
I think it might
right?
get better. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Our history with
All I'll
Surface
say-
updates proves that will happen. I wouldn't worry
That's
about
true.
that in the slightest.
I'll say
Nice.
I am really glad I got to try this out. And I'm really glad I didn't spend my own money to buy
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
That's what I'll say.
Well, it's just another drop in that leaky bucket of my
No, you
wallet.
had to try it. Like you, Leo, had to try it.
I
You
did, and I really decided not to spend another $2,000 on the Fold, just because I just think that's kind of a janky. I don't.
Yeah, but
I don't.
all the
I don't-
reviews of that are like, hey, they did it.
Yeah.
Remember
Right.
when the first one launched, it was this huge disaster. This time people are like, seriously, this thing is fine. And the Microsoft thing, I mean, it's 1.0. That's the problem,
Yeah.
And it's,
Well, let's be
I've
clear.
always
Nobody says you should buy this.
Right.
no.
Except
No.
Microsoft.
Yeah, no reviewer. I don't think any reviewer said, "Oh yeah, this is a must buy."
Yeah.
I mean, all the reviews should begin with this. You shouldn't consider this as a product, but it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's not okay. I can't keep saying this.
Not a ringing endorsement, really, but yeah.
I wanted to like it. I wanted so badly to like it.
Keep using it and see, because the longer you use it, the longer you use it, you fall into patterns. That's all.
And no one has ever answered my questions. Well,
the biggest question is why, right?
Well,
why did
and
they
what problem does this solve exactly? Like, what's
right.
you know how you're using a smartphone and it's terrible, and if you just had this other thing, it'd be great. Like, that's not. I don't know. I just never. And the responses that that Microsoft has provided, such as they are very vague, and I don't know. I said this in November, whenever that was. I mean, like, this is nonsense. The reason they've given for this to exist is nonsense.
Yeah,
it's nonsense.
It's nonsense. Well, if they're trying something new, Paul,
they are.
Don't you ever want companies to try something new?
Yeah, it's like in the Flintstones when one of the cars has like square rock wheels instead of round rock wheels, and it's like it's different. They're trying something different.
Who said? Was it you, Paul? Somebody said. No, somebody said they should have like a garage type thing for Surface where they try things and they let people try them out.
Oh, I like that idea.
They're not actually like selling them as commercial products at certain points.
I did not say
right?
that, but that's sure.
Somebody said that, and it was a good idea.
I think you run into we saw many photos of Microsoft executives, with this thing in the world. I mean,
this for months, right?
Yeah. Did none of them come back and say, "Hey, by the way, a couple of things." They did, but they're not going to say anything about that publicly. And then they let this thing ship in this condition. I don't know. I don't know.
I think, the target date they announced last year for shipping this was holiday 2020. And then when they moved that way up, my guess as to why is they knew all these other companies were going to announce phones around this time. And so they were like, well, we got to be part of that wave of stuff.
They had to get in especially because of the Fold. I mean, that's what this directly competes against.
Yeah.
I just don't like the idea of a crease down the middle of the screen.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, no, and that's the other thing about this. If you believe that folding devices are kind of the future, this is just a step in that direction. This is not the future. We can't make flying cars yet, so.
Well, I believe that 2-screen devices might have a future too.
I don't.
You don't think that's a sensible plan?
I think.
No, I think the way. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the hard part for me is the idea that they keep saying that it's having 2 screens on a small device, it's a phone size, is the same as having 2 monitors on your desktop. Because I don't think that's the same thing at all. But that's the parallel they keep drawing, and I don't think that's the same.
It isn't the same.
When you're a hammer, everything's a nail. I mean,
maybe that's the real problem is there aren't that many use cases like this use case for a dual screen device. This is actually, if you're a chess player,
this is a fairly esoteric example of something that
this is heaven. If you're a chess player, I'm just saying, this is what. Because people, I should bring in my chess wallet because I would carry around a little wallet about this size with a chessboard in it that unfolds, and that's what you would use. But this is actually 10 times better. This is awesome. And I guess you could add to that maybe the application of watching TV and tweeting at the same time. If you could only get the TV.
I mean, even on a big screen, Samsung device, like single screen device, you could split the screen in half and do that.
Yeah, you could totally do it on a folding device too.
No, well, yeah, no, but I mean, even on a non-folding device, it would be okay on a decent size
These are good
device.
screens. That's the other thing. This is a good.
The screens are really nice.
This is a good screen. These are LG OLEDs, and I think they're really good.
This is working great.
You can see the problem. You can see the problem.
Boy.
Hello.
Oh,
now it's gone dark.
So for me, mine isn't that bad, like in terms of lagginess, but that's really worrisome.
Yeah.
No, this should bother
That's
anybody.
the accelerometer, and I just don't get why it's not You probably experienced as I did. There are a number of apps that will just freeze the thing. It just stalls. I would open my Audible, and it would just take like a minute before it could take any key presses or taps. It's just something weird. Maybe then that's just probably a bug that they can fix. I don't know. I still want to like it. By the way, it gets very hot. Too.
Yeah, it does.
It warms up a lot. They put a lot. Paul, there's some real engineering here. These two sides are equal. It's perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
It's so well weighted.
It's perfectly balanced.
It is.
If I could just.
No, they did so many things on the hardware right on this, which is the opposite of how I feel Surface products are. I always feel like, okay, the hardware isn't really tested.
I see. Okay. Right. I've always liked Surface hardware for the most part.
I know. You liked it more than me. Yeah.
It's really a pretty device.
I'm not surprised the device is nice, the hardware.
I could see this. I could see this in a sci-fi movie, right? As they pull it out.
Yeah,
and
of course. Yep.
Kind of.
It'll look quaint later because it'll be like they thought things were going to look like books. Is that cute?
Aren't they funny? Also, the other problem I have is I'm not all in on the Microsoft universe, and I think it works better if you're using, Microsoft To Do and Microsoft Outlook. Yeah. You could.
Although you have a lot of Google apps pre-installed that you can't uninstall.
You get a Microsoft folder and a Google folder.
Yeah.
You get both.
Yep.
So
I kept accidentally hitting the Google apps, and I'm like, wait, I'm not trying to go to Drive.
Right. and the default screen on the front has a bunch of Microsoft icons and stuff. I don't know. I like it, and there's some for big displays for the widgets and stuff. I think there's some. I don't know. I don't know. I think Paul. I think you're just a grump. I think you're a grumpy head.
That you both need to say that I was right, and we can move on to the next segment.
You were right. You were right.
I think I'd like Paul to test Duo 2 when it comes out next year and see what he thinks.
I have to say, from this experience,
I would have tested this one if Microsoft had sent me one. There's no way I'm buying it.
From this experience, I will buy a Neo, if they ever make it.
Neo, okay, yeah.
Because I think a little bit bigger.
I do. Some. Right. I think that eliminates the phone problem, and I'm a big fan of the iPad in particular, but the iPad Mini too, and an iPad Mini that could kind of open and be a bigger device that's interesting. Sure.
But look at the Go. I thought the Go was going to be the perfect size, but the keyboard on that is so mushed.
But that's why it was just too slow.
But it's also too tight for me, like a little too tight. And I wanted it to be the right size because I'm like, oh, perfect portability. But then when I tried to use the keyboard, I'm like, no.
Yeah. Well,
I could never type on that thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think a folding phone's quite right either. But I do see the point of having a larger screen that fits in your pocket. And I guess that's going to be folding.
Yeah. But, the nice thing about the Galaxy, not to beat that to death, is you kind of pull it out of your pocket and it's a phone.
Right.
It's much more. And then when you have those instances where you want the bigger display for whatever reason it's there, and then it's one display, and that's.
I suppose. I have 60 days to return this. I could return this and put the money towards a.
That would be my recommendation.
A fold. Maybe I'll do that. You know what? Because at least I've experienced this. I get it now. Maybe I'll do that.
And then see what happens with V2 as well, because
that's the thing. I might want to keep it because software is going to get better. Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I wouldn't rely on that. Someone, not me, but someone wrote an article that said, "Don't buy something based on the promise of future software updates."
No, that's true. That's an adage.
Very recently, and I
always held true.
Yep. Yeah. Not that things don't improve. Google does a decent job with those Pixel feature drops that Mary Jo might have noticed. Every quarter you get a couple of extra new features or whatever. And I don't know. Microsoft has kind of a mixed track record, and this is their first Android device. I don't know. It's a dicey proposition. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I wouldn't rely on it.
All right, you talked me into it.
Wow.
Wow.
I never return stuff.
Now we got to hear about that.
Lisa's always saying, why do you buy this stuff to review it? Why don't you just return it after, the review?
You can.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't. I feel like I should use it. I should be all in to really do a good review. But I think
I've done that a couple of times, just out of necessity. But it's not. I don't typically do it.
Yeah, I don't normally want to do it. I certainly wouldn't do it
Yeah.
as a matter of policy. But I think in this case, maybe I will return. I'm sorry, Chris Capicella. I know he's listening.
He should be sorry. They shipped that hunk of crap, and I don't know. I don't know.
This is why you can see now why I don't really want to know people in the PR department or anybody who works at a company, because I don't want to disappoint anybody, and I would feel so much pressure to say, oh no, it's good.
No, you wouldn't. Come on, you wouldn't.
I'm a
feel
people
it.
pleaser. I am.
Every once in a while, I'll have something thrown in my face by the person that wrote the software or made the hardware, right? So very recently, I won't explain who this was, but I wrote up this kind of scathing review of something, and we had a meeting, and they were kind of like, well, you kind of shat on us, and
See, that's what. I don't want that conversation.
I didn't realize there was a person behind it.
Yeah. No, I don't. I know there's a person behind. I know there's hundreds of people who put their heart and soul into this thing, and I'm trying not to think about them because I don't want to be mean.
Leo, you got to think about yourself, buddy. It's a dog eat dog.
It's not even about myself. I got to think about users, right? And you got to be honest, because you don't want somebody going out and spending $1,400, or in my case,
I'm telling you,
$1,500.
I don't have any of these devices, but the future is this Galaxy Fold thing. It's not that. There's no doubt about that.
All right, you're talking.
And you know what? It's good to be honest with the company, because you want them to keep improving things, right? Like,
they need to hear
like
it.
Panos, so many events. Panos would come up to me, and I'd be using an HP laptop, and he'd be like, "What are we going to do to get you used to Surface laptop?" I'm like, "Make something that's lappable."
Sure. That's true.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying it to be a jerk. I was just saying I would like to use your product.
That's how life is.
That briefing where he took my laptop, it was because you were using an HP. He went up to you and was like, nope. And so I was using a Surface
That was
laptop.
pretty funny, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. No, and so that's why I think it's good to be honest, because like if we told them this device was great, they'd be like, "Oh, good, it's working for everyone." No, they got to know.
Right. All right, there's more to talk about. I don't want to make this the duo show. We're going to make it the TikTok show. But first, a word from our sponsor. Our show brought to you today by LastPass. You know, we're big LastPass partisans. I started using LastPass more than a dozen years ago when it first came out. 10 years ago now, I've been bending Steve Gibson's ear saying, you got to try this. It's really the best password manager. 10 years ago, he said, all right, Leo, I'm going to check into it. He went to LastPass, got them to show him all his secret sauce behind the scenes. And he said, oh, you're right. This is awesome. He's been using it for 10 years now. We started using LastPass Enterprise at TWIT about 5 years ago. Thank goodness. Now that everybody's gone remote, I don't know what we do without LastPass. LastPass surveyed 700 IT and security professionals in a complete range of industries, financial services, IT, retail. Most of them, 82% of them, said their business had been exposed to a risk due to poor identity and access management. That's what LastPass does, identity and access management. It can help you manage who's logging into what, when, and where, promote good security behaviors, especially while employees are remote. They'll love the LastPass Vault. Automatically records every password, every app log in, so that when you go back to that app or that website, it'll auto-fill it for you. That's a big improvement, both in security and convenience, making something both more secure and more convenient. That's what LastPass does. And of course, your IT department is always in the know, and that's really important too for security. Shadow IT, enforceable policies across all the accounts. You can automatically add people very easily. You can automatically remove people very easily. You could tie it into your LDAP or your directory. They support things like multi-factor authentication, more than just fingerprint or face recognition. They support contextual authentication, things like IP address and geolocation, so that it's smoother for employees and more secure for you. And because LastPass works everywhere you work, there's no reason not to use it. iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, Linux, every browser's got a LastPass plugin. That vault is always secure, encrypted with AES 256-bit encryption in place at rest. It's never decrypted anywhere but on your device. The password you use, your master password, is never transmitted anywhere, even to LastPass. Only you have access to your stuff. And to prevent brute force, they use PBKDF2. They use SHA-256 hashes, the best, salted hashes. In other words, they do everything right. This is what Steve verified. We use LastPass at Twit. You should use LastPass in your business so you don't put yourself at risk, even with employees at home. Oh, and by the way, password sharing is safe too. You don't want an employee to text message another employee with a password or send it in an email in the clear. You don't want that. LastPass has a secure password sharing faculty that really works. LastPass, no wonder it's the #1 password manager. Let LastPass securely manage your user's identity by letting your employees work efficiently without making your business vulnerable to cyber threats. Go to LastPass.com/twit. LastPass.com/twit. Sunday, we were doing Twit, the big shoe, right in the middle of the big shoe. Somebody said, whoa, what happened? Microsoft had just announced they lost the bid for TikTok.
I want to be really clear about this. This is the last time we're ever talking about TikTok.
I agree.
So let's hope.
I don't care. I don't care what happens after this. I'm not writing about it again.
But then, weirdly, Oracle says, yeah, not that they won the bid, but we are now the technology partner, along with Walmart. So I think what happened is TikTok said, look, we're not going to sell. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. Yep. We'll spin off a U.S. division. We'll have U.S. companies as our technology partners. Obviously, Oracle stored the data, right? So that you don't have to worry that the Chinese government will get the data. And everybody be happy. Now they just have to convince the president.
What was when was the deadline? Wasn't it the 15th?
Well, even President Trump couldn't. He said 2 dates.
He did.
15th and the 20th. They made it by the 15th. So I think, just in case.
Yep.
Okay.
But we have no idea. Honestly, I think the president's moved on. I don't think he's even thinking about it anymore.
I know. Yep.
So I don't know what's going to happen.
Let's talk about the Microsoft angle here, because Mary Jo and I both very negative about this. Don't want Microsoft to acquire TikTok for all kinds of reasons.
You're happy.
I'm happy, but I will say
I did a TikTok dance Sunday night at 7:30. This was me in my living room.
I did a little Tebow thing down in the corner, but so not as demonstrative. I think about this though, and it's like my whole thing was like, do you really want to ally yourself with a presidential administration that's going to try to strip away a part of a company from a Chinese company, like that? This would be kind of a stain on your reputation, right? But, I guess the other way of looking at it, and I don't mean to make this sound patriotic or anything, but I mean, given the situation, which was not of Microsoft's making, right? Like they could, and not done in a charitable sense completely, because obviously they would benefit from it by having the algorithm and having the company come to Azure and so forth. Microsoft is one of the few companies that everyone basically should trust with this kind of technology. They're taking on a terrible responsibility if they buy this company, terrible, terrible ongoing responsibility. A year of work or more just to get everything transferred over. I mean, in some ways, like it's almost like they were, I don't mean it like it was philanthropical or anything, but I mean, they were almost like taking one for the country, in a way. I know they're a company and that's not really what was happening, but I mean, I'm trying to understand like what the point of this was, but I don't know. I suppose there's different ways to look at it.
I know. Yeah. And if you look at the statement, Microsoft put out this really brief statement Sunday night, and they basically said, we intended to do a lot of things to this service if we bought it. We're going to change the security, the privacy, the online safety, we're going to start combating disinformation, all these things. And you're like, wow, okay. So like, they're not just going to like host the data, right?
That's what I based what I just said on. I mean, what they said that night, I was like, that's interesting. Yeah. Like, again, they weren't doing it for the good of mankind or anything, but it would have benefited a lot of different parties, and it would have solved this national security concerns that the government has. Microsoft has been a good steward of technologies, or I should say of companies that they've kind of operated as separate entities. Minecraft is like that. GitHub, obviously. LinkedIn is like that. I mean, whether those things have been but I don't mean that they've been successful for Microsoft necessarily.
Yeah.
They've been a good steward of these sort of pseudo-independent companies.
Yeah. So, to me, the most interesting thing out of this whole debacle at the end was, so what Oracle's going to do is not what the Trump administration asked for, right? They're not going to do that at all, right? They're going to host the data in the U.S., but they didn't say anything about like taking over the company, the app. Like they're just going to basically let the app run as it is. And they're not going to take control of the algorithm, we don't think, because it sounds like ByteDance isn't giving them the algorithm, right? So all they're doing is hosting the data, which is allegedly all that Microsoft was wanting to do at the beginning when they started the talks with ByteDance, right? So I'm like, okay, so we've come full circle, and the only difference is Oracle is going to be the hoster instead of Microsoft. And so Oracle, they're trying to build up their portfolio of marquee companies to prove they have a cloud, because most analysts don't think they even figure in the cloud scene at all, right? So they undercut everybody's price to get Zoom.
That's not fair.
And I'm
they're
sure
the IBM
too,
of cloud computing. Right? What do you mean?
That's a very good analogy. Exactly. There are three companies that matter in the cloud. And Oracle and IBM aren't usually on that list. Right. So, I think, so many people were tweeting Sunday night, dodged a bullet. I saw Matt Rosoff at CNBC said, this is Microsoft's luckiest miss since Yahoo. And I'm like, yep. That's how I feel about this too.
Remember, didn't they want to pay like $42 billion for Yahoo or something crazy thing?
Yep.
And that's not $42 billion in today's dollars. I mean, this is like, back when $42 million meant something. But it was a lot more money back then.
I know. But I'm sure, I mean, okay, I can't say I'm sure, but my guess is as the talk started progressing and Microsoft suddenly was facing the idea of you're going to become the owner of TikTok, they had to start thinking about, okay, where can this fit in our portfolio? What are the synergies with Xbox? What are the synergies with Teams? And they started thinking about it and planning for it, and then kind of justifying to themselves, like, this is going to be a good fit. Like, this is going to give us a leg up in consumer. We need this, right? And then suddenly it was like, oh, wait, that's not.
Well, no, I actually don't think they ever had that, wait, that doesn't make sense moment. I think literally the thing that Microsoft wanted to do with it, ByteDance was like, no, you can't have all of it. You can't have I think Microsoft was full steam ahead.
Yeah. Yep.
And whether it was China or ByteDance or whatever, but on that side, they basically said, no, we can partner on some of the U.S. stuff, but we're not going to sell any of the company. And Microsoft wanted basically what is all of TikTok, right? Because TikTok does not operate in China. So it's kind of like all of the non-China assets of TikTok that's TikTok.
Yep. Yep.
So I think Microsoft got in. I don't think anyone ever put the brakes on at Microsoft. I think they were told no.
Yeah, me too.
They wanted too much,
I do too.
Basically,
Yeah. I agree. No, that was my point. Like they had decided like, okay, we're doing this, and like, let's justify it internally and make a case for it. And then when the algorithm wasn't going to come, like Sunday, we saw a story from South China Morning Post. ByteDance isn't giving out the algorithm. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if Microsoft still wants this without the algorithm.
The algorithm is something like line 10, go to line 20.
It might be.
It might be a little more complex.
ByteDance does AI. But when we had Matt Cutts on, who was an early Googler, he's now administrator of the U.S. Digital Service. He said it can't be that complicated. You look at what people want to see, what they're watching, and you boost it. Period.
I feel like many online services do exactly that already. I mean, even Microsoft probably kind of does that with, personalization on MSN or whatever. I mean, that was kind of my joke. That was the point of my joke. I don't think it's particularly special. Does anyone look at TikTok and think, oh my God, this thing's reading my mind? Like, this is exactly what I want to see.
Well, it does a good job. Look, there's two things. One part of the secret sauce, well, nobody's going to get it because they're not really being sold. We should point this out. This is just a deal to say to Oracle, so Oracle can say to Trump, look, we got it. We got this. Trump can save face and walk away from it and maybe pocket a little money in the treasury. But really what they're saying is we're going to run the database. So China doesn't have access to it. But if somebody were to buy it, the algorithm, I don't think, is the only thing that makes TikTok unique. It's
No.
It's the UI. It's the interface. It's the thing that makes people want to put videos on it. Makes it easy to create videos. That's the magic sauce. Because any algorithm, look, all you got to do is get, YouTube does this. If I can get 1 million people to give me content free, and all I have to do is run an algorithm on it, watch what people look at, and boost that, profit.
Kind of like Apple, if I could get 1 million developers to give me apps for free, I'll throw them a little something.
Yeah, but Apple had it's not easy to develop, and as you know, Paul, I don't know if you've tried to write an Apple app, but it's not easy.
Yes, I have. It's true. I've often joked, and not joking, that the biggest success of Apple was convincing developers to use back in the day Objective-C and Xcode to write applications like that to that volume is astonishing.
It's astonishing.
That's a horrible environment.
So really, Apple succeeds only because they made such a successful platform. Nobody wants to write for iOS. Nobody wants to write for Android. Frankly, developing for mobile is a pain in the ass.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
And honestly, maybe that is something people should think about.
Yeah.
If it were as easy to make content for an iPhone as it is to make videos for TikTok, you'd be in really good shape.
Remember back in the day, they used to have like game creator toolboxes or toolkits and stuff. And, there were all these things, for that kind of stuff. Yeah. I think
maybe you wouldn't be in really good shape, though, right? Because maybe part of the allure to you as a developer is it's hard to do. And if you do it right, you can cash in. And if it's easy for everyone, then you have lots of apps.
But billions of apps later, that kind of dried up,
Yeah.
I was thinking when Leo was talking earlier about, the algorithm and TikTok kind of understanding what people want to watch. I was just reminded, I kind of do this now without thinking, but if I go to YouTube, YouTube now is like heavily tailored to videos I've already watched. So depending on what I've been watching lately, I'll see lots of car reviews and tech reviews and video game things and blah, blah, blah. I went through a basketball phase and I got basketball. It's kind of dumb when you think about it. And that kind of behavior has actually caused me not to click on videos because I don't want videos like this in my, because God forbid,
so it's a bad algorithm.
Yeah. So like Amazon's like this when you buy stuff. YouTube is like this.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the things are like this.
A lot of recommendation
if you make the
engines
mistake,
are bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
You make the mistake of clicking on something and now you're doomed.
Yeah.
So the only measure of a good recommendation engine is does it drive more engagement? Do people spend more time? In radio, we call it time spent listening. You measure how long they listen without changing the channel. Does time spent listening or time spent watching go up? And I would argue Facebook does that very, very, very well, right? They are very sticky. Their engagement is very high.
Right.
I think you might be right. I don't know. I think YouTube might be doing a good job. Maybe not for you, but I think they certainly are increasing engagement, aren't they? Whereas
I will
TikTok
say
is the king.
Yeah, there's one YouTube channel that comes out with a new show every Friday. And every Friday I open YouTube and it's right there in the top left, like every time. And I watch it every week. And like that is the one thing they do that is 100% exactly right. But yeah, I just, I'll watch I like old 70s talk shows and things like that. So it's like The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. He's interviewing some 70s guy. They're excellent. But then because I watch that, it's like, well, here's a Jimmy Kimmel talk show. He's talking about Kardashian or something. It's like, this is not the same thing. Like it's such a dumb.
It's not well done then, right?
Yeah. I don't think so.
So that's the difference between a recommendation engine, which is trying to suss what you like, and TikTok. They don't care what you like. They surface videos. Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know the algorithm, but
it might be. Yeah, there must be a combination of what's popular out in the world.
Yeah, if a lot of people like that video, thumbs up that video, spent time watching that video, they're going to promote it.
So another thing that happens to me, I bring up all these new computers, and so I'll open like a laptop I'm reviewing, and I go to YouTube, and I have this brief moment where you can see like maybe 12 videos on screen, like the thumbnails, and I'm like, what is this crap? Oh, I haven't signed in yet. and
Oh yeah, you really know the difference, don't you?
Know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, like you
haven't
can
signed in,
really
it's
see.
very different.
I'm like, what is this? It's like little animal videos and like, what is this? Yeah, and that's.
But TikTok, before you sign in, the onboarding is very successful. That's why they've done so well, because you go, oh, this is good. Oh, this is, you don't even have to sign in to enjoy TikTok. Now, maybe that works because TikTok is a more homogeneous environment, a more homogeneous audience. YouTube's all over the place. Oh, yeah, YouTube's all over the place. But TikTok's
I mean,
teenage girls.
Oh, I see.
No, there's more, though, than that.
Well, it
I
is
should
certainly.
probably-
But
I should probably close my account then.
yeah, stop using it. The TikTok and Pinterest are not for you, Paul. Just
Thank you for bringing that.
I don't know. It's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
But
The
TikTok.
funniest tweets, though, after the Oracle thing came out on Sunday, you saw all these teenagers tweeting, "What is Oracle?"
Yep.
Like they had never even heard of Oracle,
happened
right?
to
And they
our
were like,
TikTok?
"What is Oracle?"
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. The corporate parent. It's fine.
Yeah.
They don't, but that's the whole reason they're pissed. They don't care about ByteDance or China or anything. That's
No,
why they
no,
use their
no.
TikTok.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
They don't care where the data is stored.
China's
No.
stealing my data. LOL. Smiley face. All right.
Exactly.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. My daughter wouldn't care.
No.
The truth is, have you watched this new Netflix movie about social networks, The Social Dilemma? It's getting a lot of
not yet,
attention.
but yeah.
I don't know if I like it. I actually couldn't.
Is it Unsocial Network? Is that what it's called? Or
The Social Dilemma, I think.
Social Dilemma? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
I've not
remember.
watched.
But it's getting a lot of attention. I started watching it, and it feels a little too much like technology's ruining our
It's a
children.
Michael Crichton movie, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's a
If Michael Crichton
documentary.
was still alive, he would write about a social network that's destroying the election, and that would be him, you know?
And I think it's pretty clear that, I mean, this is why I'm no fan of Facebook. It's pretty clear Facebook has been weaponized by dictators, that it's been, kind of conscienceless in some areas. I mean, just set aside the U.S. because we can debate over that. But, in Rohingya and, I mean, it's in Burma or Myanmar, it's been used as a tool by bad people.
Yep.
And not tried too hard to stop that.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have so much weight in our society now. Facebook, it's not
I can't get off of Facebook because too many people I care about are on there and only on there. And so I just kind
I
of check
know.
in from time to time. But it's one of those things like, I guess I wouldn't personally use it anymore, but it's just too pervasive.
Yeah.
I just look at pictures on Facebook. All my relatives post. That's pretty much what I do.
No, I check in a couple times a week and just make sure I'm not missing someone's birthday or, something like that.
I am happy not to have an account on any Facebook property. Actually, I found an Instagram.
I thought you had
account.
Instagram. You don't?
I gave it up, but it turned out I had more than one account. And so there's one left. I think it's Mr. Leo Laporte. Or
Leo,
like that.
come back, Leo.
Well, it's bad too. When you quit any of these things, they put up pictures of your friends looking sad. Saying, I swear to God, Paul Thurrott is going to miss you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Every day, Leo.
mean.
Every day.
It's
your
freaking-
wife's on there, so it's good. I get to see her.
Yeah.
At least she's got some
The
good
cat.
stuff going on. The cat with the headdress thing on. Or the,
Oh,
whatever.
you like
Yeah.
the hats?
Yeah.
No, I don't like the hats.
I know. It looks like it's cruel.
No,
It does.
no.
One cat doesn't like it, Sammy, the one with the Hitler mustache. But one cat doesn't seem to mind. Paris. She'll just sit
Wears
there.
it around the house. Okay.
Well, she doesn't make him wear it around the house. She puts it on, takes a picture, takes it off. She doesn't make him
Okay.
wear it.
Okay.
I think the Egyptian headdress is pretty darn fine.
It's pretty elaborate.
She bought those on Etsy, I think.
Yeah, you can tell. But
Ooh, ow.
I can't imagine putting a hat on Sorachi, I'll just say, because I don't think my fingers would still be attached
he
to my
wouldn't take
hand.
kindly to it, would he?
No, he would not.
he's semi-feral animal. it's not
Yeah.
going to have a hat put on him. Yeah.
No.
Oh, but they're just so funny, these pictures. I just think they're so cute. Let's see. It wants me to sign in. Can I show it without signing in? Oh, I get it. I can't.
You can't go far down. Is the problem.
They're so mean. They're so mean. Like, okay.
I mean, I have an Instagram account. I don't really use it on the PC, so sometimes I'll have to go to, something links to Instagram, and I'm like, I start looking around. Then it makes you sign in. I'm like, I want to sign it. Like,
it's a much better experience if you have an account.
Well, yeah, because then I can see more than the first 6 pictures.
Let me see. I got to show you this picture now that we've mentioned it. You've done Sriracha. I have to show. What's her name? This is this is Sammy.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking.
She looks
of.
angry.
There you go.
She looks angry, doesn't she?
Cat is not. That cat is 1 second
Doesn't
away
look
from
that
ripping
happy.
someone's eyeballs out.
Paris, on the other hand, doesn't mind being a turkey.
Doesn't care.
And then who's
Does not
this turkey? She keeps posting pictures of this guy. Who is that guy?
I know. I saw that. I was like,
I guess I don't need an Instagram account, do I?
You don't.
No.
See, you're still on Instagram. You just don't know it.
I just don't know it, which
Exactly.
is just how I want it. All right, let's move on. We gotta keep this thing on track because we've got a big PlayStation 5 announcement coming up. Woof. Paul has recused himself because he knows he hates them. What's the latest with Windows 10 20H2? Anything to say?
Not a lot.
Okay, thank you very
think-
much.
I was gonna say.
I know.
What is
It's
it?
like it's coming any day now because we keep getting cumulative updates and it's almost ready to land out into the public somehow. But they haven't announced a date. They haven't done a blog post yet. They haven't said it's RTM'd, even though obviously it has. So yeah.
Yep.
It's coming soon. And I don't know where we're at with Windows 10 2004 deployments, but I don't think most people have it still.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Right?
I think it was 4%, something like that.
40% or something.
I don't
Right,
know.
so-
it's not 40%.
When 20H2 comes out, if you have 2004, it'll be a really easy update for you. It'll update almost like a cumulative update. It'll be fast, quick, supposedly seamless, and just work. But if you don't have 2004 yet, it'll work just like a regular update. So lots of churning. Yeah.
Churning and bubbling.
Yep.
Kettle.
Bubble, toil and trouble.
There it is.
Windows
Yeah, so
burn and
that's kind
cauldron
of where
bubble.
we're at with that. We have no more information. There aren't a lot of big major features in the 20H2 update.
Great.
I know.
Great.
Yep. No, that's good for you for the book. That's excellent for the book.
Just slow down,
Right.
Microsoft. Paul's still typing.
Yeah.
Let me catch up.
And then the next build, well, we can't call it the next build, but the dev channel, they're also getting updates still, but like nothing big in that either, right?
I disagree. Today there was a major update, Mary Jo. Didn't you see it?
What, the dark mode in
Dark
search?
mode. Dark mode.
When you open
kidding
Start
me, man?
Search, it's dark now. If you're in dark mode, see, I'm doing it now. I don't have it. It's white. That's terrible.
Right. It's
So
rolling
that's going to be
out
fixed
from the server.
sometime in the next 15 months. They're going to fix that. It's awesome.
No, rolling out gradually to insiders in the
They're
dev
going to
channel
A/B it.
first. Right. Do you
So
want
good.
dark mode or not?
There's somebody new in the chat room who asks, I think, a really important question.
Yep.
Is there any reason to install 2004?
That's kind of
Windows
the wrong
subsystem
question, right?
Linux.
The question would be: is there any reason not to? Because I mean,
Oh, I think
ultimately,
there's plenty of
you're
reasons not
gonna have to install
But you
it,
have
right?
to.
You don't have that
Yeah.
much time, so
That's true.
it depends on what version of Windows you're on now. If you're offered, like this is assuming you're offered it, I assume. So, I mean, I would wait a month, right, based on how things have been going. But the right way to look at 20H2 is that it's 2004 V2, and it took them 2-3 months to get that right. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like now I bet the usage figures we get at the end of this month will be pretty good. It doubled last month. It was 24%, by the way. I bet it will do pretty well.
Can you
But
jump to H2 without stopping at 2004? That would be the
that's
right
what
thing
you
to do, right?
well,
Yeah.
yes and no, because at that point you're doing a feature update install, and that's more timely and more potentially dangerous. But of course, you don't have a choice. So at some point, you're going to have to do the feature update.
Right.
I would let's assume it came out. Let's assume you were offered it. If you're offered it that first month, I would wait a month.
Yeah.
But after that, I mean,
I learned my lesson. I'm not going to be a seeker ever again after this last time.
Yeah, but you actually didn't get it until fairly late, and it still didn't go
I got
well,
it really late. I got it late. I got it like 3 months after it started rolling out, right? So,
and on Microsoft hardware.
Right. So here's the thing I will say. Like we all complain about these blockers and how, I can't get it on my Surface Laptop 3. This is terrible. But you know what? In hindsight, I'm happy there were blockers because I had problems even when it was offered to me with my Ethernet connection. So I'm glad it didn't just offer it to me. And then I started having blue screens or like it hosed my machine. So I'd rather have the blockers there than not have them. Right.
Oh, no, of course. Yeah. No, right. I know. But, we spend, not you and I necessarily, but we collectively as a community spend months, complaining like they can never get this right. Why isn't it going out? Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, if you're not getting it, there's a good reason you're not getting it. I mean, the amount of time is a little concerning. The fact that you have Surface hardware should be very concerning to anybody. I mean, I don't think Google is a particularly good hardware maker, but Android 11 comes out day one, Pixel devices get it. That's exactly the way it should be. How are you not testing this thing on your own hardware at job one? Like, that's crazy.
Right. So let me talk about a story I did Friday about this because as you guys know, I've been asking Microsoft, like, what is going on with 2004? Why isn't it on the Surface hardware? What happened? So nobody would ever talk to me about that. But I finally got to enough sources that I felt like I could write something. And I hear that inside Microsoft, there is a lot of consternation about this very fact. Like, the teams are not happy that this happened. Like, a lot of times we think they don't care. Like, they just don't seem to care if Surface gets it first or not. No, they care a lot. And they're trying to address this now with a whole bunch of new hardware matrices that they're putting in place to make sure that they're testing it on all the different hardware with all the different driver combinations, especially the driver combinations. And I don't know when this is going to happen, but in a future update, when you get a blocker, like I was getting on the Surface Laptop 3, you're going to get much more granular information about it. It's going to say, here's why you're blocked. Here's the issue. Yeah. And here's any known workarounds for it if you really, really need to go to a certain Windows feature update right now. So whenever this magical thing happens, it's great. And it's also great to know the inside. They didn't think things went like all hunky-dory with 2004. Like I think they're happy with the blockers they put in place, and I think they're happy that those worked. But there's a lot of questions about, like, why didn't the Surfaces get tested first or among the first wave of devices, right?
Reasonable question. Well, I will say UI and other people kind of pointed out the stupidity of putting something in Windows Update that says, hey, there's an update coming. You're not getting it, but it's coming,
right.
And not telling you why you weren't getting it. So it seems like they're kind of addressing that bit of feedback, which, by the way, I certainly appreciate. But
me too.
I feel like we're just telling the same story over and over again. Every 6 months, a new version of Windows comes down the pike, and there's some story. And the story is always like, well, they fixed the problems from the last one, but now there's new problems. And now they're going to be all over these problems. It's like the TSA, we're always fighting the last battle thing. Like, we're still checking for shoe bombs. That ship sailed. They've moved on to other attacks now. I wish. I don't know. I don't know how to fix this. Like, I wish it was better. I wish it was just better. I find the lack of credibility over there to be a little alarming because this product is so central to everything. And I wish it was
one
better.
problem is the drivers, right? Because if you think about Microsoft's position, so they knew a lot of third-party drivers were what were causing problems with 2004. And they even put those in the release information notes. Like, they were like, here are the drivers that aren't working, right? Here are the vendors of those drivers. But they never can come out and publicly chastise them because they need them. Like, they're their partners, right? So they're in this weird spot where I'm sure behind the scenes they're going, hey, Intel, those drivers, like, you didn't update them for 2004 and, come on, guys. But it's frustrating to us as users, right?
Yeah. No, look, Microsoft's always going to get blamed. They make
Yeah.
Windows, right?
Yeah.
This is always the story. You buy a Dell computer, something goes wrong, you blame Microsoft. In this case, if an Intel driver or some other company's driver is the problem, you blame Microsoft and Windows.
Yeah.
But we could have had this conversation in the Windows 95 timeframe.
It's
the
true.
problem you're not getting the update because of third-party drivers, or you got the update back then because it probably didn't block anything. And the reason nothing works is because of a third-party driver. Yeah, it's like third-party drivers. It's 2020.
I know,
guys, come on.
I know.
It's just I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I know. So then the other issue around this time frame for Windows is I'm wondering when and how and if we're going to start seeing Windows 10X test builds, right? Because we don't have any of those yet. And if the rumor mill is true, the first Windows 10X release for single screen PCs is spring 2021. And if that is the case, and if they hold to the way they've been building Windows in the past, this needs to be done by December this year. It has to be done. So if that's happening, or maybe they've changed the schedule or the way they build 10X versus regular Windows 10, but you would think at this point there would be 10X builds out for people to be testing.
If they're going to do public testing,
I know. So if they don't.
If this is a version of Windows that you'll never be able to download, right?
Which
why would they make it available?
It is.
Right. So why would they make it available for download now? I mean, I think they should do this, by the way. I think they should test it, but it kind of wouldn't surprise me if this just happened in secret. It's not like they weren't testing the Duo OS out in the world.
That's true.
Granted, I know it requires 2 screens, et cetera, but But so, Windows 10X this time will be on single screen. So
single screen.
I would love to be able to get Windows 10X and try it on a device, like dedicated device to that. I think a lot of people would.
Even if they said there's only certain devices it'll work on, like Surface Go 2 and Surface Pro X or something like that, right? Like even if they said those are the only ones you can test it on, it still would be. I think they still should test it externally. I do.
I do too. Yep.
But so far, there's been no signs of a 10X build. I haven't heard any rumblings about where it is in the development phase. So, it's a little alarming, I'd say.
Alarming? Why?
Because I feel like if it is going to come out in spring 2021, you would think somewhere it would have leaked or somebody would have seen it. There'd be like something about it out there, and nobody's got anything.
We just talked about the quality problems with the Surface Duo software. Yeah. We talked about the quality problems with Windows 10 version 2004. Now they're going to release another little bit of software. Maybe they should test this one. Just a thought.
Let us help.
And insiders want to help.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I'm sure
even
there's a million people out
like
there.
Me.
Yeah.
Outsiders
people want to see it and they want to try it. They want to provide feedback and maybe shape the thing. It's better to get that feedback now, not after you ship it.
So, too. I agree. So I'm curious when or if we'll hear anything publicly about 10X.
Yeah.
Like, is it just going to show up in spring 2021 on some hardware, preloaded, new devices?
Yeah, I think that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
They did this with S mode, right? Windows 10S. That was not tested anyway.
That's true. Windows RT.
Yeah. But, Windows 10S is something that might have benefited from a year of testing where people would have used it and said, I like the idea of this thing, but I want to install Chrome. Is there a way we could do a list of apps that are okay but have it be in S mode for the rest of the time? I bet it would have changed, but they didn't do it that way.
Yeah.
So I guess they finished painting the stripes on the street, and now they're setting off all the car alarms. Yeah.
Now the cars are driving over the stripes so they can hit them on their tires.
Oh man. Meanwhile, my neighbor is texting me, "What the heck is going on out there?" I'm like, I don't know.
She's downstairs, like writing her initials in the white paint.
That's exactly the sound. Yep, that is it.
If I heard that sound here, it would be because there was a cow.
So, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a break because I got to show you my new clothes. And then,
Okay.
and then we will come back. We will talk Xbox. PlayStation reveal is in about 20 minutes. We'll get to it as soon as we're done here. This is a higher priority because, of course, we couldn't care less about Sony. Actually, we're hearing that Sony's having trouble with the chip yields on that Zen 2 they're using. 50%. Which is
They deny that, but of course they would.
Of course they
liars.
would. What else are they going to say? It's true. It's true.
We have too many of them.
Yeah. Anyway, the real question is, will they meet Microsoft's price?
Yeah.
And the rumors are not even close, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
We'll see. This, my friends, is my brand new shirt, custom designed. Whoops, you're not looking at it. There it is. Custom designed for my particular weird body. It's even got my name on it, Leo. I got this from Taylor Store. I am a huge fan. In fact, Taylor Store now provides all my wardrobe. We're going to have to put it at the end of the shows. Leo Laporte's wardrobe provided by Taylor Store. I got a suit. I love the process because Taylor Store has an app. It's called Size Me. You take two pictures, front and side, like, like prison photos, except you get the full body. And then you give them your height and weight, and boom, they got the measurements. They use statistics, AI, to figure out everything else. And what they'll do is they'll send you a shirt or a suit sizer or a pair of pants and say, how's it fit? And in my case, it always fits beautifully. But if it doesn't, you don't have to send it back. You just say, hey, a little bit more in the collar, a little bit more on the sleeves, whatever. You could send them another picture, and they'll fix it. And they'll keep fixing it until they get it exactly right. Then they've got your measurements. And from now on, you will have custom tailored clothing. Beautiful clothing, too. If you go to taylorstore.com/twit, you'll see that you could choose the fabric. You could choose the collar. I kind of got wild here. I did a Mao collar or a collarless shirt because I thought that'd be kind of fun to do. What is that extra flap of collar for if you're not going to wear a necktie, right? So, and I love the monogram. You could choose not only the buttons, I got mother of pearl buttons, but even the thread. If you want contrasting thread, you could choose the thread color. You could choose the platen there. If you want a full platen, a half platen, this is a half platen. You could choose the darts on the back, everything. The suit, they sent me a kind of a canvas suit sizer, which was kind of hysterical. Put it on, had Lisa take a bunch of pictures. I said, it's a little big here, a little tight there. So it wasn't perfect coming out of the box. I sent them that stuff. They sent me a second sizer. I said, hey, this fits perfectly. Then they sent me the suit. I should have worn it today. I forgot. It's my favorite suit. I love it. I'm going to get more suits. Very affordable. You choose everything, the fabrics, or you don't have to, because you could also say, I want the ready-made, this one. But they're all not ready-made in the sense they're off the shelf. They're all tailored to your exact measurements. Dress shirts, chinos, beautiful suits, polo shirts, shorts, everything. Taylor Store has it. 4.7 out of 5 stars, thousands of customers on Trustpilot. That's an excellent rating. I'll give you a quote. Constantinos said the vast variety of fabrics and an easy customization tool are just the beginning. These guys create some of the best shirts, garments on the internet. Literally, I'm never going to buy a ready-to-wear shirt ever again. I feel the same way. I always wanted a custom tailored shirt. And these are really affordable. They fit perfectly. They're made conscientiously. It's just really great. Fit is always as expected, says Stephen Roberts. Quality is top-notch. Shipping routinely seems to be faster as originally given as well. That's true. If you need your Zoom shirt, or I'm sorry, your Teams shirt, you need a new Teams shirt, you can have it quickly. In fact, we're going to get it even more quickly now because you get 20% off plus free shipping with every purchase now through the end of October. So get there right now, make your first order, get the fit right, and then get the whole wardrobe. I'm getting more suits, more jackets, more chinos, more shirts. I love Taylor Store. TaylorStore.com/twit. 20% off plus free shipping from the comfort of your own home. Design clothes that look beautiful and fit you perfectly with Taylor Store. And if you're not in the mood to customize, don't worry. You just click, I'll take that one. It's perfect. I love the fabrics too. So many interesting different fabrics. The lining on that suit, it's great. I chose that too. TaylorStore.com/twit. Use the offer code TWIT. Experience the unrivaled fit and comfort of Taylor Store's hand-picked fabrics for yourself. Terms and conditions apply, but that is a good deal. 20% off and free shipping. Now through October 31st. TaylorStore.com/twit. Use the offer code TWIT. By the way, TAILOR. Taylor, like a tailor. TAILOR. Store.com/twit. Okay. Microsoft. Oh, this is good news. Is the next thing the update blocker messages? Because that's something we've wanted them to fix.
No, we get that one. We went over that.
You went over that? Okay. Okay.
But the other item we did not. The your phone thing.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah, this wasn't as big a deal as I thought it was going to be because what it sort of said was, so remember when the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 was announced last month, there was a new feature in your phone that was only for Samsung phones.
Right.
And it was called, it's like the feature's called apps, which is kind of confusing, but the Your Phone app on Windows 10 lets you run apps that are on your phone or whatever. It's kind of a hard thing to describe, but the description from Microsoft was it has expanded to all supported phones. I thought, cool. It's like this thing was a Samsung exclusive for like less than 30 days. Now it's available to all phones. And I went to go look at the list of phones, and what it's available on is more Samsung phones. So it's like literally all Samsung phones. But the interesting thing about this is the support document that says this says that it only works on phones that are compatible with Microsoft's, I think it's called Link to Windows software, right? Which is that thing you see in the notification shade on a Samsung device. Yep. That software is also on Surface Duo, I understand, which is supposed to make the connection to your phone easier. Although, as Mary Jo noticed, and I've noticed as well on Samsung, it's still a crazy mess of wizard on both sides where you have to, handshake them both through this process. But what that tells me is it's going to be coming to Surface Duo, of course. I mean, it's probably going to be coming to basically all Android phones, but today it is not there. So there's now a long list of Samsung phones. So if you have a Samsung phone, chances are pretty good you can use this feature. If you don't, you can't.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I was surprised it wasn't on the Duo.
Yeah,
like I
no
set
kidding.
it all up and I was like, oh no, it's not.
Well, it's because of that Samsung partnership. So Microsoft launches new features on Samsung first.
It's
That's
just
the
an
way it is.
exclusive, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, not forever, but yeah, for the first probably a couple months, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Subscription bundles. Let's talk about that a little bit. That's your next item on the rundown.
Yeah. So if you
Apple
watched yesterday's Apple event, as I know, Mary Jo, just locked in. She loves Apple.
I was like glued to the screen.
So, I mean, they had some big announcements like hardware devices, and then they had these little things in between. And one of them was about their long rumored AppleOne subscription services, where there's actually different tiers. And it's a way to bundle different Apple services into a lower cost bundle, that you can get. So the individual one is $14.95. There's 4 services. There's a family version with the same 4 services, a little bit more storage on iCloud, and then whatever the big one is called is $29.95 a month, which is really expensive. But you get all the services, right?
Premium, right?
Premium, yeah. So I think what a lot of people wanted was the ability to kind of a la carte the services, like. Maybe Apple offers 2 services that are $10 a month each, and I could get 2, and it's $15 for the bundle, but that's not how it works. So you kind of have to get a bunch of stuff you don't want to get the other stuff you do want. So whatever. I mean, I'm not in this sphere of influence. I'm not going to get any of this stuff. Whatever. I don't care. But it was interesting because the next morning, Spotify said, "See, this is antitrust abuse," and you kind of read through the complaint, which is pretty short, but and to the point, like it's a good point. You're already disadvantaging competing services on your platform. Now you're disadvantaging them even more by making your services less expensive if people get more of them. So it's like this. You have this influence on your own platform over your customers, and it's steering them away from third-party services. So, we'll see what happens there.
I don't know. But the other thing I saw, so I wasn't watching the Apple event, but I saw a lot of people start tweeting, I wish Microsoft would do, I know, it's crazy me. I had other things to do, like work.
Which Apple Watch are you getting? We need to know.
I'll tell you which one I'm getting.
Which?
The nice one.
Yeah.
Which is the nice one?
No, I'm not getting the Hermes. I'm just getting the regular Series 6.
Yeah, the Series 6.
Yeah. I have to.
No, but...
And then Mike is going to get the iPad Air. And I'll, we're gonna,
I saw it. He's getting a green iPad Air.
It's green. Yeah, it's going to...
Yeah.
I don't know. Between his blue velvet Surface laptop and his green iPad Air, that guy is colorful.
I'd like the iPad Air. It's way too expensive. I cannot believe how expensive that thing is.
Really? It's only $599.
Yeah, right. But the base iPad is $329.
Oh yeah. But
it's a big jump.
The bezels.
I know. But do bezels save money? What?
I don't know.
I don't understand how that could be true. But
actually, I'm gonna sign up for the bundle. So you think that Spotify there's some merit in Spotify's?
Well, yeah. So here's the base Spotify complaint. Apple sells Apple Music at $9.99 at a loss. You can't actually make money selling at that price. If Apple hadn't done that, music services would actually be a little more expensive, right? Which you could argue is bad for consumers. But every company that makes a music service has to sell it for that price because they can't afford not to. But Apple's service isn't really just $9.99 and subsidized by the hardware sales. Apple charges 30% to Spotify when they sign up users through the app. So they're getting a chunk of Spotify's subscription service money as well. So the cost to be on the iOS platform isn't just the undercutting the price of the service, but they're also getting an additional charge on top of it. So there's that, and whatever that's worth. Well, it's not a true 30% fee overall, for the whole user base, but we'll call it some percentage cost difference. This makes it even worse because now the value of Apple Music in one of those bundles is $5.99 or $4.99, or in the premium version, $2.99. Or however that works out, whatever. I guess it's $6. I'd have to do the math on that, but it's a tiny percentage of what the cost of Spotify is now. So not only is like Spotify is selling this thing at a loss, but they're taking a further loss on the Apple fee, and then they've got Apple's own service over there raking in people with no worries whatsoever about the cost because it's all subsidized. So it's that's the basic. The
30% thing is like a legitimate complaint, but on the bundle thing, you could say every subscription bundle does this, right? Like when Microsoft bundles things together as a plan, you're getting things cheaper than you could a la carte, right? Does that make it an antitrust issue?
Only if you have a monopoly. So, if you want to sell something for under cost, I always use the example because I used to work there at Toys R Us. They used to sell diapers at a loss, and the idea was you're going to get mummies with little kids in the store, and the little kid's going to grab a teddy bear, and you're going to buy stuff when you bring the kid in the store, and that's how they make money off of you, right? So obviously that worked great because Toys R Us is still around, but they ran into the Amazon problem like everyone else. But obviously the rules change when you're a monopoly, and
right, that's true.
And Apple does have a huge market of 1 billion people, and a lot of, what are you going to do? Not you, but an Apple, a lot of, like Leo just said, like knee jerk. Of course, you feel like an Apple guy, you're like, of course I'm getting this bundle.
Oh, I'm buying it. I am.
Because it's a tremendous savings.
Well, it's,
and it opens you up to these other services you might not, might not have tried otherwise.
But I'm already using a lot of those services, but there'll be the new fitness service.
Yeah, but now they're cheaper.
Right.
Yeah, and the fitness service, by the way, actually looks great.
Looks pretty good. Yeah, it's like Peloton.
So there were a lot of
Except they're going to put Peloton out of business.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't be happy.
There are a lot of tweets right after this, you guys, from Microsoft users saying, why can't Microsoft do a bundle like this, right?
What would Microsoft bundle?
So Microsoft, like I saw some people saying they could put more of their consumer services together as a bundle. Like, why don't you add cloud gaming in with the Teams consumer subscription? I'm like, But I saw some people also. Sorry?
They tried it. Remember the work and play
bundle? They did try this. I know. They did try this.
They experimented with this at least 2 years in a row.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm starting to wonder if they may come back and try it again, because I get some more information this week on that Meta OS thing that they're building, which is this foundational layer. And the whole premise of this Meta OS that Microsoft's building inside the Microsoft 365 org is that we have whole lives. So they're trying to make the case like, hey, you know what? We don't have a lot of consumer plays right now, but we have some. We have pockets of consumer stuff. And what if we could come up with a platform that would work across multiple devices where we could offer people all the services? So I wonder if they're going to come back and do some kind of an integrated gaming.
I was going to say, so what do you think? What are those services? Like, what are they? Like when we heard about Microsoft 365 for consumers, one of the early, it was probably not a rumor so much as it was a wishful thinking kind of thing, but one of the early things that kind of came out from people was, I wonder if there's going to be like an Xbox part of this, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously it came out, it was just pure productivity, as you would expect. I mean, do you think does it make sense to bundle, like, it's kind of weird just thinking about it, like Office and Xbox, Xbox Game Pass and Microsoft 365 family. Does that make sense?
So I don't think it does for me, but I think there is a group of people it does make sense for, because look at the Duo even. Like, okay, look at the Duo, and when you see Microsoft's ads for it, they show you working away on your PowerPoint, presentation and Teams, and then when you go to the store to pick up some paint, you're suddenly doing some gaming on your Duo, right? So they want this idea that you do everything on their devices with their services. Right. Okay.
I mean, the mic, like we said, the premium Apple offering is expensive. It's $29.99 a month, but you get all the services. Yeah. I think it spreads throughout a family if you have a family.
It does. It's a family plan for $30.
Okay. Yeah. So that's 6 people. So $30 a month times 12 is a lot. It's a lot of money.
But it only makes sense if you're going to use all of those things. And the thing is, people in the Apple universe probably do.
Right. Yeah, a lot of them. Oh, for sure. They have a captive audience that should be the end of everybody.
Yeah.
But but think about the Microsoft one. So like Microsoft 365 family is $100 a year. Yep. Xbox Game Pass, I guess Ultimate, we'll call it, is $15 a month. I don't know if they have a year version where it's cheaper, but probably. So let's assume it's $150 a year, right? Because it's really $180 a year. $250 a year for both of those things. Right. So that's actually less than the Apple bundle. Yeah. That's $21, $22 a month, whatever that is.
I mean, I'm not saying they make it for everyone, but like, what if it's just an option? Like, here's the Xbox gaming bundle over here.
No, of course.
And if you want to add in your productivity software, add blah, blah, blah,
I just don't, that's such a weird.
It's weird. It's weird,
I want them to do it just so
wonder.
People can say to me that I complained about Apple and I never complained about Microsoft. That's all I want.
Like you said, they tried out that home and play bundle or whatever they call that thing for a while, and I just can't help but wonder if they've got more bundles in store.
Yeah. Okay. If I'm not mistaken,
just a guess.
Zune was still an ongoing concern when they did the first work and play bundle, I think.
It was.
As a brand.
Yeah, I think it was too. Yeah.
And then maybe the next year was like Xbox Music or something, but
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway,
I think Apple is the place to go for entertainment stuff. I would like to see them do like a movie subscription thing. Honestly, I know they have Apple TV Plus or whatever, but like a way that I could somehow watch X number of movies a month and pay some, like movies I don't own. Yeah. It's kind of, if you figure out like how much it costs to rent movies and half it or something, Yeah. But anyway, I thought the fitness thing they did was an excellent idea. I think that this is going to spread to gyms. It's going to spread to exercise equipment. My wife and I did some math on, I don't know if you read this article. You should read the article I wrote about this because I made my wife watch the presentation.
I saw that. I read that.
Okay.
So cool.
So we did.
That would be like me watching an Apple presentation.
No. Well, yeah. So she had some awesome digs about Apple, but she writes about fitness and nutrition and health and all that. And so we did some math, and it was like, a Peloton bike is $1,900 to $2,500. You could buy a beautiful exercise bike for $400. Right. Buy an Apple Watch for $400. Buy $10 a month instead of $30 a month. And this thing is more versatile, and it works with all kinds of different workouts, not just bikes.
You can also do yoga. You can do weightlifting. Yeah. It works with rowing machines. So I have a rowing machine. I don't even need to have I have a Peloton, by the way. But this is better. This will be on my big screen TV in the gym, and my watch will give it.
You can keep your Peloton, Leo. Just put an iPad Pro in front of the screen.
I know.
And
I'll use the Apple. And they're doing the same thing Peloton did, which was smart, which is they have live classes as well as, I presume, as on demand. And live, there's something about it. And by the way, timing's good because people aren't going to the gym right now.
Right.
That's why I think this is so smart. So this year, everyone's either afraid or can't go to the gym. So they got individuals. But next year, when that starts to open up more, I think they're going to,
this is bad for gyms.
They're going to partner with every single, they're going to partner with gyms.
Yeah.
They're going to make people have gym memberships buy Apple Watches just so they can take part of these classes. The gym I go to already has a room full of bikes. Yeah. All they need is everyone to have Apple. They can beam.
It's actually bad for spin instructors, is what you're saying.
Well, for spin instructors who don't work for Apple.
I've been doing, I've done both canned trainings, and I've actually I do 3 days a week with a trainer over FaceTime, and it works fine. If you have some equipment, and Apple's pointing out, you don't need any special equipment for some of this. Yoga, you don't. All you need is some dumbbells, and you can do the dumbbell workouts. I'm going to probably do more of them, and I feel bad because it's a lot less than my trainer. My trainer might be out of work in a few months.
But you know what? So I listen. I used to see a personal trainer back when I lived in Dedham for 2 or 3 years, and it was expensive.
It's very expensive.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the type of thing that shouldn't be so expensive. The other thing is if these guys are good enough, and if Apple partners correctly, what you're going to see is them partnering with people who are doing live things in a gym somewhere, but it's being broadcast for others. So it might actually be good for some of these trainers because they'll have additional revenue through that. I'm just fantasizing in a way here, but I think so.
There's no replacement for one-on-one training. This is not going to replace that. And if you're doing weights, for instance, having somebody there to spot you to make sure your form is correct, that's kind of vital. So this is the replacement for group classes more than it is one-on-one training.
Which right now is what you want, is a replacement for a group class. Because I go to the gym by myself. I'm not going into a group anything. No, I can tell you that.
Exactly.
That'd be crazy. Yeah.
They got me. I mean, $30 a month, they got me because I already do Apple Music. I already have iCloud storage. Anybody with an iPhone or an iPad has to. You kind of, the 5 gigs they give you is untenable.
Just for backing up. Just for backing up your device.
Your phone.
You need more storage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Apple News Plus, not so great. That's the magazine thing, but there's some Linux magazines I can get that I can't get on what newsstand? There's no newsstand.
The corner newsstand.
So
hear all about it.
Yeah. Plus you get Arcade. You get Apple TV Plus, which I got free for a year, but November 1st, it's expiring. And there's not much to watch on it, really. This benefits Apple, too, because I think
the foundation, Leo.
They would lose. Yeah, exactly. They would lose, I think, some subscribers because that 1 year thing's coming up. This might keep them. Doesn't come out till later this year. It's not. I don't know why, but it's not out yet. So.
Well, they're probably literally waiting for this expiration.
That might be.
To mention the fact that
I
don't think Fitness Plus is ready yet, right? So
I think that must be what's holding it up because everything else exists.
I think so, yeah.
They had a funny name. This was Project. You'll like this, Mary Jo. Code names. The code name for the Fitness Plus app was Project Seymour.
Seymour.
Who's Seymour?
I don't know. Seymour Glass? I don't know. It's kind of funny, isn't it? See you more? See more of you?
There's some guy at Apple, Seymour.
Named Seymour, yeah. But they've been talking. This has been rumored for more than almost a year now. But at first
I saw that. I thought this should have been the first thing they released. This makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I think this makes more sense for them than music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it does.
This is their market. They own this. And by the way, that I've what do you call it? Apple Watch SE, which whatever was it, $179? $279. I mean, they just put Fitbit out of business. They're going to sell.
And there's a family plan, which I think is brilliant. One phone, parent phone, and you have kids watches. Now you got to be fairly affluent because you also have to have not only an Apple Watch, which a kid's going to break or lose immediately, but you also have to have a monthly subscription to cell service, which is about $10 a month. But for parents who don't want to give their 11-year-old a smartphone for good reason, this is a good move. This is a smart market. I'd like to see them get the price down more.
Yeah.
But it's it's a really interesting market. So this is what they need to do. Apple decided that services was their future. They've saturated the market. They can't sell more iPads or more iPhones.
I know.
So the only way they could do is by making more money, more revenue per customer.
I thought services would have to plateau, but then this Fitness Plus thing to me, I saw this. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, this is the solution.
Yep. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, fatties, come on, let's exercise.
No, I feel like, of course, I feel this way every time I buy another piece of gym equipment. This is going to be the time. This is going to be the one. This is it. I'm going to do this every day. Hey, what is Meta OS? I saw your article about this, Mary Jo, and I thought this was kind of
so Meta OS itself is just this plumbing that Microsoft's building. You know, there's like layers, there's graph APIs, and there's other layers on top of it. But the reason I bundled it, bundled with the Apple Services bundle is because I think Microsoft's kind of hinting they could do other kinds of bundles that bring some consumer subscription into their work subscription mix. So Meta OS itself isn't that interesting unless you're a codename geek and unless you care about plumbing and Microsoft, internal strategies. But the idea is it gives first and third party, so first being Microsoft, third being ISV's platform to develop on top of, to create services that could be on all different kinds of devices, iPhones, iPads, not Windows phones, Duo, anything, basically anything that Microsoft or any other company makes, but gives you the whole life spectrum. So you get your work stuff, your teams and your productivity stuff, and maybe also throw in some gaming. Who knows? I'm just guessing on the bundle part, but I feel like it's setting them up to try again to prove that they have relevance in the consumer space.
Relevance.
You know what Chris Caposello's title is, you guys? He's Chief Marketing Officer, but he also is responsible for consumer stuff. Yeah. So
consumers. What a concept.
A phone and a tablet and a watch, and then maybe they could have like a fitness service.
Some music.
You know what? They tried all the health service stuff. Remember Health Vault? Yeah. They gave up on that.
Oh, remember Microsoft Band?
Remember the band?
Microsoft Band.
Yeah.
The band. Yep. They decided they couldn't do that.
The second band especially, it was a great idea.
By the way, they even had fitness, the Connect fitness thing.
Yeah, that's right.
They even had that. They had done all of this.
They just cut their losses early on all this stuff, and they're like, you know what? This isn't our wheelhouse here.
They went enterprise. That's why it's kind of silly for them to go after consumers at this point.
They claim they think they still have a consumer brand. This is one of the reasons they tried to buy TikTok, right? They still think they have relevance in the consumer space.
Yep.
Speaking of TikTok, Mary Jo, did you want to discuss the latest?
There's something new?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just sent this to Paul.
No.
I'm like, no.
We just got over it. We said no more TikTok ever.
Microsoft's back, baby. I'm just kidding.
Bloomberg sources says Oracle's bid for TikTok falls short of addressing the Trump administration's security concerns, and a final decision has not been reached yet. I'm like, oh no.
Trump said, you got to get the K-pop stans. Is there some way we can get them to?
Exactly.
Maybe they can dance at the inauguration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Oracle hopefully Microsoft's not still in there, guys. I can't go through this too many times.
Oh, no, it's
How many
good
TikTok dances can I do?
This is Microsoft dodged a bullet, just as you mentioned, Paul, as they did with Yahoo. This is a bullet dodged.
I think so.
Hallelujah.
But the fact that this hasn't closed makes me wonder.
No, you think I get back into it?
God, please don't do this to me.
Chris, if you're listening, have mercy on us. We don't want to do TikTok weekly. We don't.
You bastards.
No. All right, Mary Jo Foley, go have a beer, because...
Well, this won't be like last week. This will be painfully long. It's going to be terrible.
It's going to be awful. Paul, all yours, baby.
So this past week, Microsoft launched Cloud Gaming, formerly Project xCloud, as part of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. If you were there for the beta, you might remember that it was advertised as being 100 games, but actually it launched with 167 games, which is pretty cool. And as we talked about last week, that EA service, which is called what? I already zoned on it. The EA service, EA All Access. No, what's it called? What is the EA service? Why don't I remember that? Whatever the EA service is coming to, and that's going to bring another, 50 games or whatever it was. So that's pretty cool. So it's only Android and console right now. Why it's not on Windows is kind of unclear. I hope to see it on smart TVs and all kinds of things in the future. If Apple ever gets their act together, we'll see. But unfortunately, that's the other news, because you may recall that back in August, Microsoft announced that because of Apple's draconian rules for the App Store, they were not able to bring cloud gaming to iOS. And Apple, to clarify matters, just announced a kind of a rejiggering of their App Store rules and with regards to this kind of service. And it was basically them putting the middle finger at Redmond, saying, yeah, remember how we were kind of vague about why you can't be in the store? Here's a really detailed explanation of why you're not going to be in the store. They basically made it impossible for them to bring, and I should say, it's not just Microsoft, right?
They wanted to review every game separately and have each sold separately, in effect, right?
Yep, and each would have its own launcher. And the point of this thing is you have like a central app that we're not selling games. It's not a store.
Apple really is cruising for antitrust bruising.
They are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't seem to care.
The equivalent to this is Netflix, right? Does Apple have to review every single Netflix movie and TV show? I mean, it's such a ludicrous thing. So it's too bad. If you're familiar with Windows 10 and if you're a privacy person, you may know that they collect telemetry data and they don't let you turn it off. And you may not know that they also do the same thing on Xbox, although maybe that shouldn't have come as a surprise. With the launch of the Xbox Series S and X coming soon, they kind of revealed a little bit more about the types of data that they collect, why they collect it. They let you opt into optional data collection that goes even further if you want to do that, if you want to help the process. And they actually took the step of removing one bit of data collection, which is related to voice commands. They're not going to collect that data anymore. So if that bothers you, I don't know where you go, because I think every console probably collects data, honestly, like this for telemetry purposes. They want to know why apps crashed. And
every TV does. Your freaking toothbrush does. It's just get over it. Everything collects data. Everything.
All right, Scott McNeely, we get it. You don't have any privacy. Yeah. No, but you're right. You're right, for sure. Last week, obviously, our top story was the Xbox One S stuff and also the pricing on Xbox One S and X. That stuff leaked, as it turns out, we now know, a week earlier than Microsoft intended. So it wasn't going to come out that week. It was going to come out actually this week. So that stuff all would have happened yesterday, I guess. And in the wake of that, the Walking Cat, our buddy there who is back on Twitter, leaked the launch video in multiple parts that they would have used if they were able to launch just the way they had wanted to. And it's just Phil Spencer sitting in a chair talking to someone else, and they do some game demos and stuff. And, they have videos about the console and everything. But it's kind of, if you're into this stuff, it's kind of cool to just go check that out. And then the last bit of Xbox news is that as Microsoft has done many years since the original Xbox, dating back to the original Xbox, they have a promotion that's tied to Taco Bell because, of course, people that sit in front of the TV playing video games all day long love Taco Bell. And this time, at least, to qualify for this contest, you only have to buy a drink. It could be a medium or large size drink. I hope water is included, but I'm not sure about that. But in previous years, you actually had to buy food. And apparently, and I think it might have already started, but for some number of weeks, if you buy a medium or large drink, you'll get a cup that has a sticker on it. You roll it off. You might win an Xbox One S. And according to Microsoft, there will be a winner every 15 minutes. So I don't know if that means like Taco Bell gets only a couple of customers every hour, or if there's actually going to be like
everybody wins. As soon as somebody comes in, they win.
Yeah. And if you're watching this live, you might want to turn it off because the Sony event is happening right now. And the assumption is they're going to announce the pricing for the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 All Digital Edition, but that will probably be toward the end of the hour.
Yeah.
I think it's
we'll go to that. We're almost done. We'll go to that as soon as we wrap up here.
Yep.
Cool. All right, let me get a little word in from our sponsor. Our show today brought to you by Worldwide Tech, WWT, and Cisco. Worldwide Technology offers you security solutions and services that will protect your business. I mean, they are the leaders in enterprise technology and helping people get the right technology, helping them integrate it in, consulting them. And when it comes to security, you cannot afford to go with the second best. You got to go with WWT. So how prepared are you? I just heard the Carnival Cruise Line got hit by ransomware, which means probably they have all my personal data. They know my food allergies, my likes, my dislikes, the massage room temperature, all of it. Attackers have updated their strategy. They constantly change with the times. We know that. But the question is, are you doing the same thing? You need to. Worldwide Technology will help you combat these next generation threats. You want a company that has the vision, the services, and the capabilities to deliver security controls and reduce the risk for your organization. WWT's got it. Man, do they have it. Their team provides resources and platforms that make it possible. With over 2 decades of experience, they have a proven track record that will really help you succeed. I'll give you some examples. They worked, and I won't name names, but you could find the references, the customer studies on the WWT site, wwt.com/twit. They worked with a large healthcare organization, you know the name, to conduct a security risk assessment of their certified electronic health record technology. Everybody wants to do these electronic health records. There's a mandate to do so, but there's also lots of regulations and lots of security and privacy concerns. That's why they brought in WWT. WWT's consultants use state-of-the-art tools, in-depth analysis. They use skilled training and repetition. Most importantly, they used what they got up here, their expert knowledge, to complete their assessment. They found some significant vulnerabilities, but here's the good part. 90% of the vulnerabilities they found could easily be fixed just by putting in a comprehensive, systematic approach to patching. That's all. That one fix, 90% of the vulnerability is gone. That makes sense, doesn't it? But you need the guys to come in. They need to do the analysis. And, of course, the other 10%, I'm sure they fixed too. WWT worked with retail banking to help them achieve the primary goal of establishing an infrastructure capable of preventing and surviving a catastrophic cybersecurity event. Are you prepared? They were able to reduce system outages by 40%. There's an ongoing cost savings even of 48% by infrastructure automation. So they're not just spending your money, they can save you money. WWT offers a variety of security solutions and services to help you achieve more effective outcomes. There's endpoint security, network security, identity and access management, and the most modern thing of all, which is something called zero trust architectures. Build a next-generation security architecture based on strong identity management, encryption, and segmentation. This is what Google's doing. It's what every smart company is doing if they're state-of-the-art to thwart the most advanced attacks. You just assume everybody is a threat, and you move from there. It's really exciting. They are also very modern. They really keep up to date with what's going on. And they can apply the most recent best practices to help you keep your business safe. See how WWT can protect your business assets, your intellectual property with a holistic security approach. Go to WWT.com/twit. Get yourself started. Let Worldwide Technology help you. WWT.com/twit. Worldwide Technology, delivering digital outcomes and modernizing IT infrastructure. All right, Paul Thurrott. Time for your pick of the week or tip. Let's start with a tip. Let's start with a tip, as always.
Actually, let me start with a small correction. Oh. EA's service is called EA Play.
EA Play.
Sorry, I forgot that.
EA Play.
It's going to be available to Xbox, Game Pass,
nice,
PC, and Ultimate. Okay. All right. You may have heard that in iOS 14, you'll be able to change your default browser and email apps, which, for the first time, that's cool. It's a good first step. During the beta process, we've been kind of confused. There's no setting for this. Like, where does this go? And then we learned over time that you will actually set the default from within the settings of the browser or email app you intend to use. It's kind of a weird way to do it, but Apple. So the first app to implement this was Chrome on the browser side. That became available last week. So if you were running iOS 14 beta, you could do that. I wrote that up. But since then, the latest beta versions of Microsoft Edge and Microsoft Outlook now also work with iOS 14's default app process. Yeah, so iOS 14 is out, right? It came out yesterday.
I got it today, this morning, yeah.
Yeah, so if you use Edge and use or Outlook and you prefer to use those as your browser and or email application, you can now set those as the defaults. That's cool. And this is not really super timely per se, but it's sort of inspired by the fact that Microsoft shipped after like a nearly 2-year beta process. It's like the first non-beta version of its C++ extension for Visual Studio Code. I thought I would just mention Visual Studio Code again. This is a kind of an incredible success story for Microsoft because of its popularity across platforms, including on Linux and including in open source in general. And some of the companies you would never expect to use this use it all the time. Like Google uses Visual Studio Code a lot. It is an Electron app, so when I call it lightweight, you need to understand that I'm comparing it to the normal Visual Studio, which is like a battleship. But it is a lightweight editor as opposed to an all-in-one kind of integrated development environment. It is awesome.
Yeah.
And the reason it's awesome, by the way, is two things. Customizability, right? All kinds of themes and different settings you can change. And extensibility, which is kind of a sort of the sheer number and quality of extensions that are available for Visual Studio Code is unbelievable. So I think people kind of probably think of it as like a web-focused development. I don't want to call it environment, but editor. But really, it's kind of for everything. You can install like the Dart and Flutter plugin, and you can create mobile apps on it. I mean, it's incredible. So
I use it with Lisp, with Haskell, with Clojure.
Yeah.
It really
Someone
is
told
great.
me that the Object Pascal is available as an extension. Yeah, it's crazy. So
the Calva extension is great
application.
for Clojure. Yeah, they've done a nice job.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right.
So there's no new release or anything, but I just thought it was kind of cool.
I think it. You know what? You can't say it too much. VS Code is really great. There is a weird. It's open source too, so there's a weird fork of it that is Microsoft.
So I think that fork might not support all the extensions, though. I think one of the problems.
Right.
I think one of the issues is that the extension part of it is maybe not open source, but yeah.
I just use VS Code. I don't care.
Yep.
I don't care.
Exactly.
Mary Jo Foley has an enterprise pick or two.
I do. Next week is Microsoft Ignite, their big IT pro and developer conference.
Are we going to do anything with that? Are you going to stream it?
We are.
Yeah.
So it's Tuesday and Wednesday. It's free. It's virtual. myignite.microsoft.com. You should register because then you can see the session scheduler and pick your sessions. And Paul and I are going to be doing a little post-keynote wrap-up, post-show wrap-up with the patch and switch guys from Microsoft on Wednesday, next Wednesday, right after Windows Weekly. So when Windows Weekly ends next week, we'll be on the air with the Ignite people doing a wrap-up session.
Great. How exciting.
Yeah. So if you look at the session list right now that's available publicly, you can see a lot of the topics that are going to be covered. Lots of cloud, obviously, lots of Azure, lots of hybrid computing, lots of Power Platform. If you care about Power Platform, there's going to be roadmap stuff and a lot of Power Platform.
You better care about Power Platform.
And you better care. Lots of Microsoft 365. There's even a session about Project Reunion, which is about the future of app development on Windows. So yeah, there's something for everyone pretty much. It's next Tuesday and Wednesday. The way Microsoft's scheduling this is it's around the clock scheduling. So whatever country you're in, you'll be able to see the sessions multiple times so you can make sure you don't miss anything and don't have to get up at 1 a.m.
The yoga session.
Yeah, there's a yoga session so you can stretch.
That's awesome. Is there a keynote for this?
Yeah, there's a few keynotes. So the main keynote is Satya Nadella. He's going to be talking about digital resilience, which is another version of tech intensity. So if you like tech intensity, you're going to love digital resilience.
Okay. You should. We're not going to tell this story, but just really quickly. One of the things that's cool, like we've been able to do this for the past couple of years at Ignite, and when we did that thing at Build this year, which was fun too. They actually gave us the opportunity to have a couple of different slots because we usually would come on after the keynote. And this year, because everything's so different, they were like, it's not really the same. I mean, if you guys want to do that, you can. And I thought that was really neat because we had the opportunity to kind of, I don't know if we're actually closing the show down exactly, but I mean, to kind of come on after everything was announced and not just have to focus on that first keynote. So I thought that was cool of them to let us
Me too.
choose that way, you know?
Me too. Because how much can we say about digital resilience, really?
Well,
you can, I cannot. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so you should check it out next week. We're going to be watching and being part of it and writing about it. So, yeah.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. Very exciting. Codename.
Yeah. So, these days, everything at Microsoft that begins with the word project something or other is a code name, basically. So this week, they talked publicly about something called Project One Fuzz. And as you might guess from the name, Project One Fuzz is about fuzzing. So it's a testing framework for Azure that is for security purposes. Fuzzing is when you throw random code at software to try to find security issues and performance problems. So OneFuzz is this testing framework that Microsoft developed for internal use. They used it for Edge and Windows and a couple of other products they developed. And now they've put it on GitHub and made it available as a service too for open source projects. So it's open source itself, and you can use it against open source projects and your own personal projects. All you have to do is go to GitHub to try it out, and it's there now, called Project One Fuzz.
That's funny. That's a funny name. Yep. And now, speaking of funny names, let's have a cigar with Marshall Zukov.
Exactly. Yeah. So, here on the East Coast, starting to finally feel like fall a little bit. So it's a great time for your Imperial Stouts. And one of the most famous or infamous Imperial Stouts comes from Cigar City in Tampa. It's called Marshall Zukov's. And if you like the kind of Imperial Stouts that are really big, this one's 11.8, not the biggest out there, but pretty big, and has a lot of like dark fruit notes, chocolate, even a little molasses, all mixed together for a delightful dark beverage. This is your beer. And it used to be hard to find this, but it's around now. Like you can find it on tap in different places and in bottles in different places. So it used to be very, very rare to find this beer, but now it's starting to get out there and get around.
Nice.
The ideal drink if you think you're going to be laying siege to Berlin anytime soon.
I know. Who is Marshall Zukov? I know he's
he was the guy that defended Moscow against the Nazis and then was put in charge of the advance against the Nazis and went all the way to Berlin and ended the war in Germany.
Really?
He was a good general. But he was
he was originally on Stalin's to assassinate list, but then he became such a hero.
He's a good general, but he was
like, all right, lead the charge.
So let's just keep that in mind.
He was
still a commie.
He did a good job.
For a commie, he was pretty good.
I don't know what to say. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. What else?
I know. I didn't want to get controversial and political bringing a Russian thing into this, but
that's ancient history. That's World War II. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. And how bad could he have been if Stalin wanted to kill him? He must have been all right.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. Actually, one of the reasons Stalin wanted to kill him was because he got too famous.
He
didn't like He didn't like people who were competing with him.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, so just keep that in mind for future reference.
That's right. Don't cross Stalin.
Don't cross Stalin. We are going to wrap this up and go. We don't have a whole lot of time left in the PlayStation 5 announcement. We'll go to it. They haven't announced a price yet, as far as I can tell. Although, Paul,
it's all games.
PS4 owners do get to play Call of Duty and Black Ops and Cold War
I just saw that. I don't know if you heard me throw up in my mouth a little bit. Literally 2 days from now.
It's just 2 days.
2 days from now, if you have a PS4, you're going to be able to play Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War in alpha multiplayer, I think, or maybe it's just alpha.
That's the new one.
Yeah, so if you're an Xbox guy, you don't remember when it is. It might be October. It's sometime later.
And I don't want,
I know.
Why would I want to play that? I got a duo in my pocket.
How much time
enough
you got?
Work to do.
You stirred up a little hornet's nest, Mary Jo Foley, with your
I know.
with your question. Who has time to play games?
And you know what? I like people who didn't see the whole context of that. They don't realize, like I was talking about how productive Paul is and how did he have time to play games, right?
Yeah, right. That's what I responded to someone on Twitter. It's like, you know, this was taken out of context. Like it was a question, not a throwdown.
When are you going to learn nothing on Twitter matters at all?
I know. Yeah. I know. I don't know why I was responding to people. I don't know why.
Don't even. I just, just like Twitter is, I know. Nobody reads Twitter. It's us.
Someday I'll graduate from all this. You know?
I know.
That's worse than high
I'm
school.
like, why am I even caring about this right now?
Yeah. But that's what happens. It draws you in.
It drags you in.
Actually, since we're talking about that, we should mention that Justin Salvato made an awesome video of this interview.
Loved it.
Did you? Yes. Fantastic.
Yeah, loved it. You know, I realize if I show it, it's very confusing to the audio.
Yeah, if you hear it,
because
it's not
it just sounds like I'm playing a clip from the show, and it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So if you go look on Twitter for Justin Salvato, he's got a whole bunch of Family Guy edits with Paul's voice, Mary Jo's voice.
This is one of the better ones. This might be the best one he's ever done.
It's pretty darn good.
It's really funny.
He's brilliant. I don't.
And by the way, I don't even appear in it. Like she asks the question, I kind of stammer for a second. Leo responds, and then it's all Family Guy after that. It's really good.
Paul Thurrott is at Thurrott.com. His books are at leanpub.com. Mary Jo Foley, all about Microsoft.com, a Red Ventures blog. And
we have to say that now, by the way.
There's a certain ring to it, I think. That's what Marshall Zukov said. No, of course, a ZDNet blog, all about Microsoft.com. Together, they form the dynamic duo of Microsoft reporting every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC. You can watch us do it live at twit.tv/live. That's the best place to find all the streams. There's audio and video. If you're doing that, chat with us, irc.twit.tv. You can also, of course, get on-demand versions of the show at the website, twit.tv/ww. It's on YouTube. You can get it from your Amazon Echo or your Google Voice device. Best thing to do, though, would be get a podcast.
It's on Amazon Music now, Leo. Do you see that?
Are we on Amazon Music? I saw they're doing podcasts.
I saw it, Leo. I saw at least some of I saw Twit and I think the iOS show. But
I wasn't sure if we'd be. Oh, no. If they're on, you're on, too. Yeah. Everybody will be on. Yeah, Amazon. If you have Amazon Music, podcasts are there, too. Mm-hmm. Subscribe, though. That's really the best way to get it every week, so you don't have to remember. That's it for this edition. This thrilling, gripping edition of Windows Weekly.
Want more Twit? Check out Tech News Weekly, twit.tv/TNW. Tech News Weekly is a show where Jason Howell and I bring the latest and greatest interviews to you from the people making and breaking the tech news. twit.tv/TNW.